Anything else? Are the additions acceptable? So you, Mr. Wareham?
Yes.
You, Ms. Hall?
Yes.
And we have a motion to approve the agenda now as amended. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as amended, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We have an agenda. Next item, approval of the minutes from the July 8th Water Board meeting in your packets for your review. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented for the July 8th meeting?
I'll move.
Ms. Hool moves. Is there support for the motion?
I'll support.
Mr. Wareham supports. Are there any additions, corrections, deletions proposed for the minutes as presented? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the minutes as presented for our July 8th meeting, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Financial reports. You have in your packet financial reports for your review. You will be making a recommendation up to the board for approval of these reports. And then had a chance to take a look at them. I have a motion to recommend the reports for July as presented.
I'll make them.
Ms. Gardner, is there support?
I'll support.
Ms. Hool, any discussion on the motion to approve the reports as presented? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to recommend the reports as presented to the full board, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next item, payment of bills. The bills folder is on the table. Trust you've had a chance to look through it. Do I have a motion to accept the bills that have been paid and present that they be accepted by the board?
Move.
By Mr. Wareham, is there support?
I'll support.
Ms. Hool, any discussion on the bills or consideration upon our recommendation? Hearing none, all in favor of presenting the bills for an affirmative vote, the recommendation from this board, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. The bills are recommended to the full board. Public comment. Anyone who is interested in providing comment to the water board may do so now. You will have up to 3 minutes to present your views at this time. Should you not wish to present at this time, but choose to at the end of the meeting, time will be permitted before we adjourn. Is there anyone interested in offering comment to the water board at this time? Hearing none, please note the time, requested public comment, and before we adjourn, please remind me that we'll permit public comment at that time, again, should someone desire. Reports. Item 8, water operators report. Mr. Mackel, the floor is yours.
Oh, few problem meters. Booking wires, new service on which quality, new service on Tamarack, Osprey. And down underneath it quite a bit, repeating water lines for the sewer project. Also,
Sorry, I can't hear. This is Cindy Barth.
also,
Bob, could you speak up just a little bit, please?
you did. She was. Locate houses, or water lines at the houses in Mason, and locate on Maple and Elm for the storm drain school. Numerous work orders And I give you a handout on this digs, to give you an idea. For June, July, and the first 10 days of August. We have 2 homes in Darby for service repair also in August. That's about it. We haven't had any leaks or anything lately. But we're still using the ton of water.
Done.
Yeah.
Anything else, Bob?
You know,
Questions of Bob?
I don't know if you guys noticed, June and July pump reports are in there. There wasn't one last month, so they're both in there.
Thank you for noting that, Tracy. Anything for Bob? If not, thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate it. Water Secretary's report, handout distributed this evening.
So she got a couple questions in here. I'm assuming we're gonna hit those.
Please, Aaron.
The first one is about this Fred Dunstan Jr. property that was bought. I personally bought a house a couple of years ago and had to pay the bill that was on that property, no matter what. So I don't see how, and this has been the policy for however, you know, whether it goes on the taxes or not, whoever acquires a house has got to pay the bill. So it's a liability you assumed when you bought the place. And she's asking what our thoughts are on it, and my thoughts are is I had to pay $400, so I'm not seeing how anybody else shouldn't have to either. So there's my thoughts on that one. It's what you do when you buy a house. You assume all the liabilities that come with it, and if that's one of them, that's one of them. And eventually it would have got put on the taxes and the tax bill anyways, and it would have had to, if they would have assumed it through there, they would have had to pay that taxes before they could have bought the property too. So there's no getting out of it. You buy it, you get the liabilities that come with it. That's my take on that one.
Mr. Warren, look, you were ready for a comment?
No, I agree with him. I agree 100%.
And I'm not exaggerating. I had to pay, I think, $350 or something like that on mine.
I remember
I
that
was-
happening.
Huh?
where is that?
This one is, she says,
Granite.
it's on the back here. It's,
Granite Avenue.
Granite Avenue, 3438 Granite Avenue, Fred Dunstan Jr.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, somebody must have bought it, and she's saying, since the proper procedure wasn't taken to ensure that the house was sold until the water was paid, which it didn't matter because that's what it was for me too. I bought that house on the corner over there by Richie's, and there was nothing, and I came in there to get the water turned on, and I couldn't get the water turned on until I paid that bill, and that was that. And just because I'm on the board didn't make me special. So I don't.
The current practice is that if you buy a home and there are existing liabilities relative to water, you assume those liabilities at the purchase of.
It's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes.
Anytime I see a house for sale, I try to make sure the office notifies the realtor that they are liable for water, water bill. Either that or when they sell it, the homeowner has
Said it's
to
gonna be
pay
on
it.
the taxes anyway, either way. they pay.
Usually, the title companies contact us,
Yeah.
almost always, but I mean, obviously.
I did do mine through a title because I got mine on a whatchamacallit sale. You know, it was through the courthouse, you know, it was a sheriff's sale. But it doesn't matter. When I bought it, I assumed all the liabilities that came with it. You know, and you want your water turned back on, you got to pay that bill.
Current practice then is assumption of liabilities relative to water at time of purchase, if any.
So I'm not saying it's cool. I didn't like it either. You know, I didn't say I liked it. I'm just saying that that's what our practices have been. So if she's asking what are our thoughts, and that's my thoughts, and you guys can weigh in too. But from personal experience, it ain't fun, but it's what we do.
Anybody else? So we are not responding relative to the petition for relief. Instead, existing practices prevail, which is you assume the liability for the water if it exists at time of purchase.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay.
She's got a second one on here too.
Actually, there's a bunch of them.
Okay, I see a second question I forgot to add to my report. This property was bought by the school. They're putting a parking on it. It's obviously the Borsom property. Should the service address be marked as inactive, or should the school be having this put under? Well, there's not going to be a residence there anymore, and we completely pulled the service and plugged it from my conversations with Bob. So there's no service there at all anymore. So I would say that this is no longer an active. I guess that's my take on it. I don't know if you want
The
to weigh in
service
on
has
it.
been discontinued, Bob. There's no water access to the property.
None at all. The corp has been pulled and plugged, so there's no water service at all. Couldn't get it if you wanted it right now.
Is there any past due amount on that property?
I don't think there is. I think she's just asking about the service.
Okay. Then it is a discontinued service. There's no water availability there. So there's no financial obligation.
She's just asking what to do with it. Yeah, so I'm saying, yeah, close the
Close the
address.
account.
Or,
Close the address.
Inactive, whatever. it
Yeah.
is.
And all liabilities according to Bob have been paid, right? Okay, so there's no outstanding liability.
Is there another one she had in there? She got a few more.
We
Oh
can't-
yeah, here's an I was wondering.
Yeah. Well, we're still stuck on the COVID thing. I realize you can't charge people for water.
Can we,
But
does that
she-
mean
but
we can't
she's
put it
got
on their
people-
taxes though? After a certain amount of time?
Yeah, they don't make a payment within 6 months.
So that stuff can still go on their tax bill regardless of whether we're shutting them off or not, right?
And some of these
They
are
haven't
from
made a payment.
back in
Because
2019.
she's got several of them here that haven't paid since 2019.
Right.
So I would say, I mean, we're in August.
That's not a
That's
COVID issue.
that's over. That's
Yeah.
well over
19
6
wasn't a
months. I
COVID
mean,
issue.
Right.
let's deal with them like we always would, whether they're shut off or not.
Yeah, she'll be doing a tax.
Okay,
thing.
I'm just saying, there's nothing else.
Well, I've got something about that too coming up.
Okay,
We just added that at the bottom.
So if they have liability prior to the COVID directive, they still have that liability where payment is expected. If there is a break in that relative to COVID on payments, but they can still go on the tax rolls if no payment has been made after a 6-month period. Okay. So there are already protocols and processes in place. We need to explain that to those residents.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Right now, COVID, you can't charge late fees.
Understand, but we can still charge for service.
Yeah.
And expect payment at some future date. Okay, thank you.
Oh, we're not allowed to charge late fees?
Very cool.
Oh. We did not know that.
If adjustments are necessary, we'll make them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other one I have is the one that's marked number 4. Here's the person that didn't have a sewer. Customer had inquired about their sewer bill in Tamarack City. They said they didn't have a sewer. They shouldn't be billed for it.
Where's that?
I don't know. She said I contacted TLSA and he confirmed that this resident does not have a sewer.
must be somebody with a septic out there.
Is there someone up on the hill, Bob?
Up on Megaloid.
Yeah.
Could be. It just says Tamarack City, so I don't know.
Probably up on Megaloid.
Oh, okay.
He also has another one on number 9.
Got a lot of them.
Due to an agreement previously made, which I hate these agreements, I can't believe they actually happened. The account for 48831 3rd Street does not pay for their water usage. I was wondering if there's like 2 or 3 of these, by the way. I was wondering if this water should be paid or covered in some way. Their usage is not included in the billing register. I mean, I'm not assuming they're doing the 8 billion gallons that we're pumping over, but I guess, you know, it is a place that water's going that we're not accounting for. You know, in our pumping stuff, when I ask her for a report.
Yeah.
So
The total's not included in
it would be nice to know how much they're actually using, because they're getting like, I'm sure they're not abusing the privilege, but I guess 48831 3rd Street does not pay for their water.
Does anyone know why?
There was a deal somewhere along the line. I know that there's like 3 of them. There's different deals for different things. I
I
think
don't even have that in taxes.
so. There's a customer out there. I mean, do we even have a meter at that location?
What's 48831 3rd Street? What?
Oh, that's why. You don't have to pay.
Yeah, I know.
We know.
I know they don't have to pay. I'm just wondering, do we even have a meter there?
Yep.
We do have a meter,
It's registered every week.
and it's reading.
Yep.
We're just not tracking it. I don't know. I guess
That was the arrangement made when they ran the water main through their property.
yeah.
That explains
The
it.
agreement was made in 1949 or something.
Some, and there's like 3 of them. That's not they're the only ones? I thought there was like 2 others. Oh, I thought there was like 3 of those.
It's a 70-year-old agreement.
Yeah, they got their money's worth. Let's just say
Yeah.
they did. I don't know what that agreement reads. Is there anything does that agreement actually read anything? Do we have that agreement somewhere? I think I might like to see it.
I wasn't born.
We'll add it to the dig list.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're gonna find it.
No, we'll add it to the dig list.
I mean, is there something on it? Is there something on it that says they can only have this much? Or do they get unlimited water and can sell it to 35 people also? Or, you know, I mean,
Grandpa.
they watched 18 trucks a day, put a car wash up there.
Grandpa.
I'm sure they're not abusing it, but I'd like to know what that is. Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm sure when you do the minutes that you indicate that we're looking into this. Okay. Thank you. Anything else for Bob?
Oh, I don't know if we came up with a solution for her on that one either. But
We're not charging, so we'll look and see what the 71-year-old agreement says. If we can find it.
we'll start there. And
Yeah.
that doesn't really answer the question, but
No,
we'll
it
start there.
doesn't, but we've got to find out. what we
Yeah, and it'll
agreed
end
to.
up. Okay. All right.
Anything else?
I don't think there's any more I saw in there.
Bob, anything else to add? Moving off of reports, then unfinished business. Water line to Mason update. I have some information. Bob may have more current information on status, but it's been several weeks now that you and I walked down there to take a look at the damage to the line. We have 2 issues on the water line to Mason. One is standing water on the railroad bed. It's a problem, and erosion in and around where the pipe is. And Bob and I talked, and I took off on a journey through the MDOT phone system to find someone to talk to. He had forearmed me what I could likely expect. But last month I did speak at length with a gentleman by the name of Jim DeLameter, who recognized Bob's name when I mentioned it and indicated, this is MDOT Rail, I'm sorry, I forgot the clarification. But my cryptic notes from the conversation were that he found it an interesting conversation. He recalled the issue from the past, indicated that they didn't really have any liability for railroad bed maintenance, which I think is consistent with what he probably told Bob. And though he understood the issue, he indicated that fixes were going to be the responsibility of the township from his perspective versus that of MDOT Rail. I did reference, what was it, a lease agreement or a franchise agreement that I have not been able to locate yet. And I referenced that during our conversation. Bob said we paid, please correct me if I'm wrong, $20,000 to gain access to and put our line down to Mason for the water system. Did I correctly state that? And he recalls you bringing that up during the conversation, but indicated to me that they have not located such a document. I told him I would, begin a search, but in environment of full transparency, my search lasted a day or two, and then other items took priority, but I have it on my list of things to dig into because it's not getting any better, and the substantial rains recently, I'm sure, have not done it any good.
Right, two
either.
good sized storms here, and I'm
So,
sure it's
yeah.
not getting better.
You can float a boat in that pond.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think about any other location where we had a water line nearly exposed or a lot of the cover removed from it, we would fix it in any other situation, you know, where our water lines are. I find it hard to believe that we won't be somewhat on the hook here to try to fix this. So.
That's why they can't find it. I told them, I said, you know, if we have to fix it, we should get our franchise fee. And they can't find it.
Yeah, oh yeah. That seems to be misplaced. Well,
I appreciate the comment. Would it be appropriate to suggest to Bob that he seek bids to repair the railroad grid where necessary?
I don't feel like we should wait until it's snowing before we.
Yeah, I'm
before we-
uncomfortable.
Before we make sure that we are protecting that line as best as we can. Is it fully exposed in any places? No, but it's just a lot of the cover has been removed. There's water sitting on top of it.
When he mapped that out, he was gonna install some new culverts, you know, the biggest washout, that culvert definitely has to be replaced. So,
That is tough to swallow, that we would have to. That's tough,
and it's MDOT's fault,
right?
you know, they cleaned up all that stuff on the other side, they put new culverts in across the highway in some spots.
And then they didn't do it on the railroad
They
bank, right?
didn't do anything with the railroad, they didn't ditch it or anything.
Right.
So instead of going along a ditch and going down, it went washed right through.
And we have a significant pond over there right now.
Oh, it's, you go behind the car dealership,
Yeah.
it's a pond. Yeah,
Well, it's on, there's a significant erosion on the other side too, is there not? On the other side of that,
There's two
the sand entrance over there, the sands entrance. or whatever.
Closer to Dollar Bay, closer to Woodside is what Bob showed me, and it's eroded way significantly.
I went back there one time, 3-4 months ago, and it was, there is significant trenching back there. It's a lot.
fiber optics is exposed, they haven't.
Yeah. What if we call the fiber optic company and say, hey, would we be willing to join in with this, or AT&T or whoever's transmission line? We'll pay half if you pay half, and let's try to fix this. What about that?
We can ask.
Bob's laughing.
Well, yeah, but
He could very well be right.
we're assuming something not favorable, but let's ask and find out.
They can only say no.
Yeah.
All they can do is say no.
Let's do that. If you and I will get together, let's go out and look for something. See if we can't bring.
I'm just throwing it out there. Is there a gas line down that thing too?
No.
Just communications and
Our water main.
our water main.
Yes.
I'm just checking. So
So anyway, like I said, that fiber optics exposed. I don't know, would it be possible, can you dig back in checkbook and see if you can find?
if there's a $20,000 payment, is that what you're asking?
Right.
To MDOT Rail or something along those lines?
It might be easier to do.
Obviously, we know about when that line went in, so we know about when to look.
If there's a check, there's got to be paperwork. And let's see if there's something in there that obligates them to help maintain the line. That's
I
really
wonder
what the
if
issue is.
UP engineers Boy, it's an older project now.
How about
We
when
usually keep a project box, but I don't know if that one will be around.
do you think this happened?
How long ago are we talking, Bob?
It was,
08? Yeah, I've got records in the files back to 14, and I found no reference to it, so.
No, that's back when we put the meters in and all, and the woodside line went in, and the extra tank was put up top up there. All
You know-
that was the same project.
I've got an idea, let's look in the audit from 08. There's probably an expenditure in there that would
Oh, that's a
identify.
good start.
Yeah,
I
let's
can
start
look
with the
in
audit, yeah,
QuickBooks,
just popped
too.
into my head, we'll start with the audit. And
And I'll
we'll
look
bring
in
back a
QuickBooks,
report for
too.
the next meeting.
Is
see what
Andy
we got.
on there, or is he coming?
She's here.
Andy,
Yeah.
are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that job was from like '03. We could check our files, our archives.
I don't have high hopes for one that's back that old, but maybe.
We can check.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
guarantees.
Yeah.
we should have an audit that goes back, it's probably in dead storage. but
Thanks,
we
Andy.
Find an expenditure.
Yep, we can. I'll check that tomorrow.
Okay.
Francis, no, come up with some
03
good
to
ideas.
08, are you thinking?
I think he's more right. I think it's around.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go all the way back to 2000, and we'll look at
Mhm.
audits.
That's true, and I'll tell you why, because it was in 2000 when the state said they had to find a new water service because of the rain.
Because of uranium, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was, 2003.
okay.
We'll go digging before the next meeting and see if we can find stuff to bring back to the water board to consider and then ultimately make a recommendation. Let's find documentation if we can.
Mhm.
There's one way or another, we got to get that line fixed before winter.
I definitely think we should bring up to, even if we're fixing it, and if they have an exposed fiber optic there, I mean,
Yeah.
they should at least be
Maybe.
made aware, and for sure, they might laugh at us too, but.
We'll form a partner, we'll ask about a partnership.
If we make them aware if something
Yeah.
happens to them while we're fixing it.
Yeah.
We want to cover our butts there.
Yeah.
Right,
Good
right.
point, Don. Yeah, we'll do some digging. We'll work on it. Our next meeting is what, the 9th of September?
Yep.
Not
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, let's see if we
Okay.
can't have something for the board by the 9th of September. That's all I had on that one.
Okay.
New business, item number 1 is ordinance update, state mandate, and I think the issue was the mandate about hooking up water. We had some questions that came up in Tamarack and whatever around the bill on Osprey and stuff like that. So we're correct in that, right? We are obligated to provide water to the curb stop.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I guess, what's bringing this up, I guess, is,
There were some questions and there's some need, I think, to take a look at the existing water ordinance and maybe suggest some updates after a
Oh.
review. So we just wanted to alert the water.
something that
board
we get the two water companies together on. and
Yeah,
see-
that was, the ordinance was approved back, I think, in 19.
Fortunately, we have 2 members of this water board on the other water. board.
So we need to revisit and then bring some updates. We'll work with Bob to get some stuff rolling on that.
All right.
There were also 2 items added to the agenda. COVID-19 water payment program.
Yes. I have an FAQ, which I made one copy of, it's up there on the table. This is a program that I got information from the Community Action. And what it is they're going to help people cover certain people that qualify, cover their water payment arrearages that occurred on or after March 1st of this year. The FAQ goes through everything, like how people what makes them eligible, how they can participate. But if we have to decide whether we're going to opt in or opt out. So what, number 6 on page 2, it says, in exchange for participation, what is required of the water utility? So this is what we have to do. We cannot shut off water service to a residential customer for a minimum of 90 days after the customer receives water assistance. we can't shut them off right now anyway, but
So
I
that
mean, if
doesn't-
they get their bill
that
paid
don't
in
matter.
full, right? And I think based on our billing and how we do it, we wouldn't shut them off in that time frame anyway.
Depending on time of year and stuff too. So,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, because this goes through December. The funding is available for, if funding is available for reimbursement, provide a 25% discount on the amount billed in water service bills, shown as a credit or payment received on the next bill after reimbursement is received. So we provide the discount, community action covers the discount. You know,
Okay.
so we're not out any money,
Oh,
we just
okay.
have to
All right.
provide them. the
That was
discount.
starting to make me.
I was
wince.
having a problem.
Me
with
too.
that.
I was like,
I knew how it would go, I got all this clarified ahead of time.
Yeah.
The water utility cannot take any action that affects a household's credit score or pursue any type of collection action against a water customer for 90 days after the customer receives water assistance. The only time we've ever had to do that is if somebody leaves and we have no other, you know, we can't put it on the taxes or whatever. The water utility.
But we've
must-
got that fixed because that used to be that's when we were hamstringing ourselves by putting a renter, right? We don't do that anymore. We have it right with the owner. So,
Yeah.
right. And just like the earlier question, that bill goes with the property.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
We must notify the eligible residential customer of payments made on their next billing statement, which isn't a problem. We must provide the eligible residential customers with any additional assistance available through our own residential assistance program, which we don't have. And then the only other thing they brought up is what if the utility does not shut off water and only sends arrearages to tax offset? And they just said basically, so like, we would have to pause it. So we wouldn't be able to put them on taxes for this year. You know, they would be going into this program, but then in where their water would get paid up to $700 is how much they can pay. So if we didn't receive payment, we wouldn't be able to put them on the taxes until next year.
I was thinking that the 30 days or the 90 days would be past our 6 month thing. So I was thinking that we'd be fine right there, but now you're adding a new twist.
That's the inability for a timely placement on the tax bill. It would be delayed for a year,
But that's only if they qualify.
only if they qualify.
They gotta qualify.
And if, yes.
But we're gonna get some money, whereas right now, maybe we're not. So
Correct, and that was kind of how I
Yeah,
looked at it,
I
plus it opens
I
up a
guess I'm
door
okay
for
with that, I
those-
guess.
Yeah, I just thought it opened up a
Someone's
door
better
for
than
those,
one right now.
people
Oh,
who
I'm not
did
getting
care.
anything from it, so make it something.
Mhm.
I just don't like that year tax thing.
How are we gonna make sure that we don't forget something there? I guess
That's my problem.
okay.
See, I mean, I guess you could look at it this way too, let's say somebody had like a $900 bill, and community action covers 700. Technically, a payment was made, so that wouldn't go on to the taxes until next year.
Anyway.
Mhm.
Right.
So basically, we're just saying, we're not gonna push them into further collection, we're not gonna shut their water up, we're not gonna penalize them for 90 days.
Which we don't really use collection much anyways, because we're doing
No.
other taxes.
We've
So
only had to do it
I
twice.
don't think this really pushes us into more of a corner than I'm not seeing it anyways. Anybody else?
So it
see
can
that?
go on a 2021 taxes. Just kind of-
Yeah, only the people who are eligible. So if there are people who aren't eligible and they haven't made a payment, I can still put them on the taxes this year.
All right.
Any other questions of Krista? Are you making a specific recommendation to this board?
Yes, I would recommend that we opt in, so that the residents who qualify can take advantage of.
Is that something our board needs to do or?
Yeah, it would be. Are you making a motion then to recommend to the full board that we participate in this program?
Yes,
Okay, so we have a motion from Krista.
I'll second
We
it.
recommend to the full board to participate in this program. Aaron is supporting, Mr. Janke, excuse me, is supporting the motion. Sorry, Krista, Ms. Gardner, doing it again, lapsing into first names. My apologies. So we have a motion from Ms. Gardner and support from Mr. Janke to recommend to the board to participate in this program. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have a recommendation to the board to participate.
So can you put this up on our website now? Is there a water section on our website that we can
There
put this under?
yeah, they did say to, at least let people know that it exists. There's like, we have to take the people and there's gonna be a database sharing thing. There's a whole thing.
All right.
that we do, but I just needed to know, cause we had to opt in or out, like
Yep.
they need to know whether we're in or out, so.
The recommendation is to opt in.
Okay.
Next item is Bob's request to purchase equipment for the water system. This includes both Tamarack and Dollar Bay with
Yeah.
regards to the equipment purchases. Bob, the floor is yours.
It's on his report. Is that what you're talking
Yeah, it's
about?
on there.
Yeah, but it's,
$3,200.
okay, I just wanted him to restate it.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Right.
Eight cases, 8 meters.
Okay.
And I need 12 radios because I'm having problems with a lot of radios.
Are these the ones that just got replaced
The
or
old ones that got, are in the basement, those are starting to crap.
radios?
They're 20, yeah, they're over 20 years old. There's no warranty on them anymore.
Okay.
Any questions on Bob's request? And the amount requested is $3,200. Do I have a motion specific to Mr. Matt Folk's request?
I'll motion.
Ms. Hool recommends the purchase to the board. Is there support?
I'll support.
Ms. Gardner supports. Is there further discussion on the motion to recommend the purchase of the equipment to the full board? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Right.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We have a recommendation to the full board. I apologize, I have one last item I need to bring to your attention before I call for motion to adjourn after asking for public comment one more time, and that is that we received late today a request from Dick Sapina to consider possible use of Tamarack City water for Hubble to do storm drain cleaning. They would purchase the water from us at a rate of, I think it's in your email, I'm trying to recall the figure, I grabbed it, but I don't have it in front of me. Is it $10, $10 per thousand
Cool.
if they have to move in this direction? Tamarack City Water, so.
Okay,
Bob, do you want to expand on that? 'Cause
No, we would be set.
making money.
No, it's fine, make money.
What do they need it for to do
They would
what?
be doing storm drain
Be jetting
cleaning,
storm
and they
drains.
would,
There's no sewer charge on that water, right?
Storm drain
No.
cleaning?
there would be no sewer charge.
No, really.
They'll probably take it out of a hydrant. We'll put something on it. We'll put a,
Well, normally, they don't the size of their truck.
so it's a 3,000 gallon truck or it's 5,000 gallon truck. We just know.
I mean, I can put a meter on there, but it's kind of a pain.
I know people, I know as a contractor, when we used to work for Gunlock, they used to put a meter on hydrants sometimes for us, so. Yeah.
This
Okay.
will require,
About this long, you gotta
Ooh,
find a way to, you know.
that does not sound like a very handy meter.
Support the end, you know, when somebody hits it.
Yeah, okay. No, let's just go with the truck size.
Bob, anything else you'd like to add? I'm sorry, Ron.
Might be the way to get that water moved down Mason. You grab it out of Mason.
No, they're gonna take it out of Tamarack.
Tamarack.
Right.
So that money will just go into Tamarack's coffers there.
So is
Just,
anything else?
just a sense of correction, and I don't know if it's a big, but since this is the Dollar Bay Water Board, should we bring that up during the Tamarack water report?
Excellent idea. What we'll do is we are aware of it.
I think we could take care of it in the main meeting.
We will take care of it at the main meeting, acting on Bob's report out of the Tamarack City portion there. But thank you, Don. That's an excellent point. Thank you for the clarification.
We could probably make that other board just make them more fair.
We'll make that.
That's all, just tell them.
That's what we'll do. Yeah. So we'll treat this at our level as an informational item, and we'll address it at the full board meeting. Prior to calling for a motion to adjourn, are there any other items to come before the water board? Is there anyone participating that would like to provide public comment at this time? You will be given up to 3 minutes should you desire to address the board.
This is Cindy Barth. I don't really have a public comment, but it would be easier to hear Bob Matfolk if he was either closer to the board or had the mic closer to him. I still couldn't hear him from most of what he was saying, but I do wear hearing aids, so it's hard to hear people behind their masks.
Thank you, Cindy. We'll adjust. If Bob is speaking during the full board meeting, we will make sure the mic is closer to him.
Also, when Krista was speaking quickly, the mic was warbling, but I could hear her much better when she spoke slowly. I don't have a problem hearing the people on the board sitting around the table. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll try to accommodate you and everyone else at the next meeting. Thank you for the input. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add?
But this is Jim Koskinen. I just want to let you know that I was able to join, so I will be at your board meeting here coming up. But I am limited on time, so if there's items on the agenda for me to address, I could be put up at that point at the next meeting here coming up.
We will move you up on the agenda, Jim. Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn is in order. Please note the time for public comment. I'm sorry, now a motion to adjourn is in order. Second by Ms. Schultz, supported by Mr. Jenke. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. We stand adjourned. The board meeting will commence in about 3 or 4 minutes. Thanks, everyone. Get into the water system report. We're going to have to pay close attention. We can either do all the recommendations at one time, or we can go through them individually. That would be, I think, our 2 options.
Okay.
Question for you. You know, when you buy property, you gotta get a title first, right?
We do.
Other than this water bill and sewer bills all the time.
Those are not necessarily, they're not necessarily always up on the, I don't know, they do call sometimes, like she said. I mean, they didn't get it on mine,
Yeah,
you know?
because when I sold my property downstairs,
Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Call the Osceola Township Board meeting to order. Ms. Wool, roll call, please.
Mr. Jenke?
Here.
Mr. Warren?
Here.
Ms. Gardner? Here. Mr. Hopewell?
Yes. Everyone is present. We have a quorum. Third item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please rise and raise the flag and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Gardner, do I have support for the motion?
Second.
Mr. Jenke, are there any changes, additions, deletions to the agenda from the membership?
Were we gonna move,
Oh, yeah.
sorry, Never
The
mind.
engineers.
UP
You
engineer.
can't
UP
engineering
engineers up on the agenda.
Yeah.
We will accommodate Jim at the earliest opportunity. Mr. Koskanemi, excuse me. Up
Do
on
we
the
want
agenda.
to make sure that we are talking about the 90-day period during that?
Yeah, yes.
I don't know if we want to make sure we,
He said yes.
okay.
You're right on target, Aaron. We'll let Jim take the lead then on the 90
Sounds
day.
fine. I just want to make sure that somebody is going to talk about this specifically.
Absolutely.
So-
Excellent point. The 90 day, Jim, is on the agenda for you as well. The
Very good.
deadline for hookup. Anything else?
New business,
New business B, Mr. Wareham.
just all the things we from the water board.
Recommendations from the water board?
Yes.
You say water board meeting report with recommendations be under new business.
Take them all care of at one time.
Anything else? Hearing none, is it acceptable to you that the agenda, those that made the motion in support, that it be amended as indicated?
Yes.
Agreed.
Agree. Okay. Ms. Gardner and Mr. Janke. Then, all in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as amended, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The agenda is amended. Approval of the minutes from our July 8th meeting. Trust has had
Bless
a
you.
moment to look at them.
Need a new mask now, or?
New paper?
Yuck.
We have extras, Mr. Madfolk, if needed. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll move.
Ms. Hool, do I have support for the motion?
I'll support.
Ms. Gardner? Questions on the minutes, deletions, additions, at all? No? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the minutes as presented from the July 8th board meeting, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item 6, financial reports. In your packet, you have financial reports, general township report, road funds, Mason wastewater fund, Tamarack City water, and Osceola Township water. I trust everyone has had a chance to review the reports.
So, the only one that's coming up, obviously I'm not worried about the revenue side, but the only one that's really coming up as a red flag, and I know that we probably still haven't modified some of this stuff like we had talked about.
We have not.
Which one are you looking at?
But the only one that I'm seeing here is the utilities expenses. How come we're paying so much more for right now than we expected for utilities?
Ooh, which one, general?
Yeah, it's the 743 one. I mean, we're at 70-some% and we're not even for our fiscal year, we're not close. So I'm just wondering, is there a reason why we're incurring significantly higher utility expenses than we were in the past, or
Something.
our
Is
bills?
it
our-
seasonal perhaps, or?
I mean, we shouldn't be paying any. I mean, we got electric heaters in here, and it shouldn't be this. We shouldn't even be in our worst months.
No,
No.
I just,
Is there something going in there that we
we
weren't
need to
putting there?
flag that.
before?
possibly. I'll look into it.
We'll flag 743 for review.
Yeah, let me look.
Please do.
I will.
That's the. I'm just seeing that that's gonna go over, and if we go under if we keep going under the current.
You have any difference?
We had the same question come up at the Tamarack City Water Board meeting.
It did. So
Well, not utilities, it was a principal question. And we had exceeded the amount of the payment, I believe, on the report. If I recall correctly.
Principal payment or something?
Yeah, principal payment, and I think it was just like a similar year.
Something
where-
was going in there that wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't in the right category. That's all. We'll
I'm
check.
just trying to hit something off the pass here.
Nope, you're absolutely right, Aaron.
My second question for this is, do we know, and maybe, I don't think, if we heard anything, I mean, we made some assumptions on the revenue side of things. And then there was all these scary talk about getting our revenue cut. Have we heard anything more on any of this, or?
I heard today that it might be around 39%.
On the revenue shares.
Which is better than 50%, but still not good.
So we were expecting 150,000, and now we're somehow going to have to make up a what is that even? That's a pretty significant amount. That's $60,000.
Yeah.
We're going to be short 60,000 to run this township. I'm not sure we can make that up. I don't know how we're going to make that up.
We don't have anything hard and fast yet, do we? We have projections and conjecture at this
I mean,
moment.
we just don't. We're not like other townships. We just don't have that kind of money. You know, I mean, we're not flush. So I don't think this. Anyways, we need to. We need to keep that in mind that maybe before we wait till the end and we're in big trouble, we may have to look at making sure we curtail any expense that we can.
Hopefully we will
I'm
have.
not sure cutting copy paper back is going to help, but going to double-sided or something is going to make your 60,000 is a lot.
We're gonna need definitive information about where we stand, and we're still working our way through the revenue. With the election and everything, by way of explanation, we've had things that have sort of pushed work on the budgets to a little lower priority for the last month to 6 weeks, and the budget will be back up on top between now and our September 9th meeting. So we hopefully will be in a better position to respond to your inquiry and your concerns, Aaron. So,
All right.
quite well made.
And just for your reference, what Mark was talking about, the Tamarack City Water Fund, it is number 831 in the Tamarack Water financials. This is the principal. We've already paid out 24,000. We only budgeted 16.
What number was it?
It's 831. And the other issue we had was office supplies. We budgeted 300 and we have 623. We think that's because of the new
Copier. What line item is that? Just
That one.
740.
740. Yeah, that's what we figured it was.
okay.
Just so you know what tool we're talking about.
Anything else?
I think the principal payment, what needs an adjustment because of the April 1st versus, wasn't that the payment?
I think that's the thing.
There's a payment that, yeah.
So it's just gonna be an adjustment.
Yeah, it loops over the years, I think is the issue we have
What it
every
does,
year.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way the township fiscal year runs relative to
Yep.
the payment schedule.
Yeah.
We just have to adjust it on
That's what we got.
it. Any further discussion? If not, is there a motion to accept the financial reports?
So move.
Mr. Wareham, is there support?
Second.
Mr. Jenke, any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to accept the financial reports, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All same sign, motion carries. Item 7, approval of payments of bills, general fund, road fund, Mason fund, Tamarack City Water, Osceola Township Water. Just everyone has had a chance to look at the bill.
So what's the $18,000 loan payment there on?
Some Secure National,
I'm just wondering what that's about.
Which one is that?
7423. 7422.
Is that a truck payment or is that something? I'm just trying to figure out what that is. I don't know what that is.
That is, why are you asking that right now?
Because it says loan and we're not supposed to have no loans.
Yeah, we have a loan. Is that a fire truck? You want me to go look?
How about, I'm not gonna, the check's been cut already and it's already gone. I just wanna, if you could make me aware via email or something like that, that would work for me.
Provide explanation within 3 working days of the expenditure.
Okay.
I think that was
That's
for
next
the fire
week.
truck.
Okay.
Fire truck.
I think it was for the fire truck and it's gonna come of general because we still have. the
Yeah, if
fire
it's
fund
being
in
covered by
general.
one of the funds, I'm suspicious that it's probably a fire truck, but I
It
just
is a
want to know.
fire truck.
But I just want to make sure.
It comes out, it looks like it comes out.
I gotta believe it might be the Tamarack, one of the Tamarack ones.
Mm-hmm.
Given the conversation, can we bring confirmation of that to the next meeting?
I'll just email Aaron.
Okay. Then I'll just ask in the office.
Just
Thank you.
curious.
And, yep. Anything else? Good question. Young, do I have a motion to approve the payments made for the general fund, road fund, Mason fund, Tamarack City Water, and Osceola Township Water?
I will make that motion.
Gardner,
I'll second.
Ms. Hool supporting. Any discussion on the motion? Since this is an approval of expenditure, well, after the fact, a roll call vote is acceptable. So roll call vote, please, on approval of the motion. Just start with
Oh,
roll call.
do we always do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
We spend money, I
It's a
guess.
post
Sorry.
expenditure of funds.
Okay.
I reread
Mr.
Robert.
Jenke.
Rule of
Yes.
Order the other day.
Mr. Wareham. Ms. Gardner.
Yes.
Mr. Alcola.
Yes,
Myself. Yes.
thank you.
It's too hot.
Yeah, I- glasses, a mask, I can't function.
You ready?
We're doing good.
Yeah.
Item 8 is public comment. May I suggest that we allow Mr. Costanimi at the end of public comment to move into the
Yes.
last spot in this portion of the agenda? Public comment from anyone in the public prior to Mr. Costanimi from UP Engineering. Anyone that would like to address the board will have up to 3 minutes. If you'd like to comment, please identify yourself and the floor will be yours. Once more, again, to make sure everybody heard, we're at the public comment sec of the agenda. If you would like to provide comment at this time, the floor is yours. If you would like to wait till the end of the meeting, we will offer public comment again before we adjourn. Hearing none, please note the time. Mr. Costanimi, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First item we can cover is the Mason Sewer Eagle Draw number 28,
In your packet.
which is you should have. It was in the amount of $8,745.60, which included reimbursement to the township of $254.40 for the bid advertisement. I believe that was the bid advertisement. And UP Engineers invoice for services rendered last month in the amount of $8,491.20. The contractor has begun work. I believe they mobilized last week, Wednesday, and they're moving forward. So next month we'll have one of their applications for payment included in this, so they're going to get a lot larger. But for now, we're just looking for an approval on the one I just mentioned.
Jim, would you like action on that while you're still with us?
That would be good.
Let me interrupt then for a moment and ask if everyone has had an opportunity to review the document. Do I have a motion to approve the document as presented for payment? It would be the UP Engineering DEQ at the top near the end of your packet, single page. This is the monthly document that we review for expenditures and then are asked to approve it.
I will make a motion to.
Ms. Gardner moves support of the document or the payment. Is there support?
I'll support.
Ms. Gould supports. Is there any further discussion on the motion for approval or questions of Mr. Costanimi relative to the document? Hearing none, roll call vote please on the expenditure.
Mr. Jenke,
Abstain.
Mr. Wareham,
Yes.
Ms. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Hopla,
Yes,
myself, yes.
motion approved, 4 in favor, 1 abstention. Excuse me, Jim, you need signature on it?
Yes, and you can just give it to Aaron and he can bring it in.
Thank you. The floor is yours, Jim.
Okay, so the next item is more discussion on the Mason Sewer project. As you're all aware, we had the public informational meeting. It looks like it was well attended as far as remotely. I didn't get a final count, but there were some discussions from that meeting regarding the 90-day period from the time of finishing the project and once it's ready for hookups. Your ordinance currently requires that hookups be done within 90 days of being notified that the system is ready to go. And I brought this up in the past that this is something we'll probably have to, the board to consider is if we run out of time in the fall, say the contractor finishes the end of October, and so now you have 90 days is November, December, and January. Well, that puts the residents in a difficult place because of weather. And so in other communities I've worked with, if they've had to, they've basically, you could call it a winter shutdown for that 90 days. If there was a 30-day window, say in October, that was good. Then you'd give them, stop it in November if it started snowing and getting bad, and then pick it back up in the spring for an additional 60 days. So the big question then comes out to how does cash flow work? Because, and did everyone receive the email I sent today? I got it out kind of late, but I did a first year cash flow. Was that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry, we printed it.
Okay, good. So as you can see in there, this is common for projects that there are no revenues. I evaluated what your revenues are going to be over the next year to 2 years versus when payments are going to be started for your loan, for your bond. And I talked with Brenda Stevenson and she provided me a markup of what your schedule of payments would be for the first few years. And so your first payment is going to be an interest payment in January, and it's only $326.25. And then you'll have another interest payment due in July of $326.25 of the year 2021. And then January again of 2022, another interest payment. And then July of 2022, you're going to have principal plus interest. So I looked at what I felt was a very conservative kind of worst case scenario of what would happen if people didn't start making payments until August 1st of 2021. Which would mean, you know, the contractor finishes and maybe you get some that hook up this fall and maybe not. But I just assumed, okay, no one hooks up until, and they're ready to start making payments until August 1st of 21. So in these scenarios, when we're doing these funding packages, we try to look out for the community, and so does rural development. They have what's called capitalized interest that is included in your funding package. So the funding that rural development provided you includes capitalized interest in amount of $8,900 to make payments for your first year for any rural development loan payments or interest payments and principal and interest payments, along with operation and maintenance costs, because the system's going to get turned on. You're going to have power bills. You may have time for your operator, Jim, to go out and inspect things. So that money's there that'll come out of the funding, and you'll request that through rural development, and they'll provide you that money to pay those bills. So with that, that's why I did this scenario, and you can see that I showed, you know, what kind of revenues you'd have out until July 2022. And then I looked at the expenditures that you're gonna have, and I just rounded the O&M cost to $1,000 a month. It's about $12,000 a year is what we're projecting. And then with all the interest payments and the principal and interest payment, and what fund it would come from. So you can see I've listed that the payment source would be RD capitalized interest or user rates. Sorry, my dog is making noise in the background here, but so what it shows, though, the bottom line is that I feel there's no reason for you not to extend the 90 days out if needed. If the construction finishes in October or even November and is not ready for hookups, to extend it to the residents. And it probably, based on the comments at the meeting, it would probably be a good idea, in my way of thinking, to go ahead and make some kind of motion that, if needed, the 90 days would be extended into the spring, because financially it works. Any questions on that? I don't know if I was very clear or not.
Jim, would we get a recommendation from the system operator, from the contractor, from you, or all of the above, that it is impractical to proceed with hookup? And then should we be in favor of it, which reading body language, we certainly appear to be, what you're suggesting, we would get a recommendation from you or the construction company saying that we're going to have to shut this down, implement the motion that you have already made relative to the extension?
You would get that from me based on, we have to certify that the project is substantially completed. And once it's substantially completed, that means it's operational. So UP Engineers has to provide that document, and it's for your signature. We sign and says, you know, we believe everything has been met in contract and it's substantially completed and operational. At that point, I would provide you with a letter saying the system is operational. Here's a certificate of substantial completion to execute, and residents can now hook up. And whatever date that was, we would make a recommendation that, you know, hookups can start, if say it's the end of October and November looks like it's good for a couple of weeks out type of thing, you know, it would be up to you as you want to notify the residents it's ready. If you're able to hook up, go ahead. But we'll be going into a winter shutdown because we know by December, weather may not turn out well. I mean, we'll have to play that by ear, but yes, you will get a notification from me. I will actually put together another packet like I did for the public information meeting, almost the same thing, but saying that you would give out to the residents saying that the system is up and operational and hookups can begin. And at the same time, you know, we can add something in there as far as what the projections are for going to a winter shutdown.
Like a November 15th to May 15th type of thing, Jim, or some dates or something like that, or would you provide that date?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be weather dependent, but November 15th to May 15th is very common with our climate up here. May 15th is road restrictions. So is a typical around there. Some years are better than others. I think last year they went till like June or something. This year, I think they came off early. So earlier than May 15th. So it all depends. We typically do the springtime based around road restrictions coming off.
So a motion from us to accept the principle or concept of a delay in the hookup of the residents of Mason to the system based on inclement weather is something that you're looking for as early as this evening.
Well, it's just a recommendation on my part based on comments received at the public informational meeting and from discussions we've had in the past. Being it came up at the meeting, I think I would recommend doing it something exactly what you just said as far as a motion, Mark. So it's on record, so you as a township board aren't going to be continuing to ask that question. You already answered it then.
Is it something that is action item that the board would like to entertain right at this moment?
Yeah.
And given Mr. Costanini's comments and the idea floated, is there a motion to follow his recommendation consistent with the language we've identified?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Ms. Hool,
I'll support.
Ms. Gardner, do we need clarification on the language?
I think you might want to say a little bit. Unless you,
The motion is that we would accept the necessity of a delay in the hookup on the recommendation of the engineering firm and the weather conditions that would bring such a recommendation about. Is that generally what we're moving?
Yes.
That's your motion then in support?
Yes.
If I may ask them, discussion on the motion. Simply put, we are accepting the principle of a delay and receptive to that, and it will be determined based on weather conditions and upon a recommendation from our engineering.
Sounds good.
Any further discussion on the motion? Not all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries unanimously. Mr. Janke, abstaining on the motion. Please note that Mr. Janke is abstaining. The vote is 4 in favor with 1 abstention. Thanks, Aaron. My fault.
I have to.
Nope, perfectly legitimate, I understand, and I should have assumed that, and that was my error. Jim, the floor is yours again. The motion passed with 1 abstention, 4 in favor.
Okay, with that, I guess I don't have anything else unless anyone else has questions for me before I boogie out of here.
Any additional questions of Mr. Koskinen?
Go feed your dog, Jim.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say the same thing.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, everyone have a good night.
You
Good night.
too.
Moving off of public comment then onto reports. Find my agenda.
Get my agenda back to the top
Yeah,
here.
me too. Right agenda. Reports. The assessor's report is handout. The maintenance report is in your packet. There is an addition to that. We had a bid deadline on repair of the boards at the ice rink from storm damage. We're not sure as of this moment that bids have arrived before the deadline. Given that there has been some apparent slowdown in mail delivery, with the understanding that the board will extend the deadline through the week and have them available, and if need be, get in touch with board members about a special meeting. If we receive no bids, we'll notify you and seek an appropriate course of action relative to board repair at the ice rink. Is that acceptable?
Did we talk to Ron about this at all? By the way? A lot of times the fire department doesn't help fix those. I don't.
They're beyond
They're,
They're past that
Yeah.
part.
the
According to the
storm right now.
paperwork, I came in a paper, had a licensed contract.
Yeah.
So I mean, that kind of eliminates us.
well,
I'm just saying, normally we would go work on those and I'm just,
the insurance company has apparently accepted the fact that they're significantly damaged. We have.
So we got- this is
limited
going to
deductible,
insurance.
and
Yes,
we're following their
they're
protocol.
bad.
I'm sorry, that's why we,
that's why we
otherwise we'd
skipped
have gone
that step.
straight to the fire
Yeah,
department.
okay, all right. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah.
So,
My apology for the lack of clarification on that. It
Why
was-
was that for me? Why don't you stand them up and fix it?
Yeah.
It says licensed contract.
Yeah.
I can't touch it.
Yeah, they're beyond the storm
Yeah.
ruined them.
Shoot that for me on your whole.
That was our first thought, was the fire department, but then we contacted the
Okay,
insurance company.
I didn't understand what was going on here. Now I understand and I'm on board.
One thing that should be changed is those 2x4s on the angle. They should be replaced with a 2x6.
Hopefully we'll have some bids come in for repair of the boards. If not, we'll be back to step one and we'll be looking for options.
Okay.
After consultation with the insurance company, my apologies for not alerting you to that.
So they wouldn't just pay us? Is that what's going on here? They only wanted bids, eh?
Right now, they asked for bids for repair.
Mhm.
Because they couldn't come up with a number themselves.
Right now, as of a few hours ago, we had not received any by the deadline, but mail's running a little slower, so.
It's gotta be worth at least 200,000.
I'm not gonna be quoting you, but I like the figure.
We're making it a platinum.
You're right.
Yeah.
Moving on, Dollar Bay Fire Department.
Since last month,
Wait.
Well,
So
I'm
there's no assessor stuff at all?
Yeah, it's in
There's a
your
written
handout.
report.
Packet.
I actually had a question about it. There's an attachment attached to it where it's addressed to a Mr. Pearson that's talking about a land division application. Do you have any idea why we got this? It doesn't.
Are they
even
doing a land
pertain to
division?
That
us.
is what came up as part of the report.
Okay, I mean, these aren't even our parcels.
I have been in error.
Okay. Okay, I'm like super confused, like, why do we need to know about this? Because this looks like it's an
gotta be
Iron
in there.
River.
Yeah, it's in your handout.
Was it one of the new ones?
Yeah.
That's one of the new ones, sitting there loose.
It just came in at the end of the day. so
Oh, okay, so.
Yeah.
Probably,
2 or 3 pages and it goes to Krista's question a moment ago.
I have them in order except for the,
This is what arrived today from the assessor.
oh, here we go.
We'll note that and find out what's going on.
Okay,
Once again, back to Dollar Bay Fire.
and since last month, we rolled truck 3 times. One was a mutual aid call for Quincy structure fire. We had got paid out for a rollover, Gold Hill, M26, along with the first responders. And then up on Upper White Mills Road, we had a rollover again, fire department and first responders. Other than that, we've been pretty quiet, which I really have.
Thanks, Ron. Questions? Thank you.
I'm sorry, can we back up to I'm so sorry. There's a letter in here from Dale that I don't know if you guys saw that about Sandy Bottom, but I mean, I think we should
I
at
saw
least
this.
talk about it. Or
It's an informational item. If that's your pleasure, a discussion on the letter from Dale about issues at the beach.
Yeah, well, he's making a suggestion, so I think we should at least
Mhm.
say whether we're going with his suggestion or not.
Board's pleasure on the suggestion recommendation from our maintenance director relative to the beach.
So,
What you suggesting anyway?
so he's suggesting we lock them.
Well,
But do we have the signs up there just like we do down Tamarack to use these things at your own risk?
Mhm.
Mhm.
They're cleaned every day.
Obviously, I agree that we do need to look,
Everything else.
I mean, which is what a lot of places do. I mean, I go to, I was just at one this weekend, and that's what they did with the two pit toilets. They just basically just what we're doing. So, but obviously that does sound above and beyond disgusting.
It's
So
disgusting and it's a health risk for him,
So,
along with other people, you know.
I guess at that point, if we're gonna lock them, we have to send somebody there to lock them at the end of, you know, at the closing of the park. We're gonna start doing that. So
I think you mean
really,
lock them permanently,
Yeah, that's what.
Or there's no
recommendation
restroom.
is that we have no
We have
bathroom
no
facilities
bathroom
at all for the rest of the
because
season.
they're abusing it. They're being
Because he
abused.
said there's no soap or water to sanitize there anyway.
Mhm. He's saying permanently close them and not having trash cans there
He's also
because.
recommending pulling the barrels
Mhm.
because of the household trash or household like trash that's showing up in there.
well, the scary part about that is then people just start throwing stuff on the ground. Yeah, so it sounds like an easy solution, but I'm not sure it's as easy as you think it is.
We usually close the facility right after Labor Day, do we not? So we have about 3.5 more weeks in the season.
I mean, we probably usually close it at this, I mean, but it's never really locked. I mean, we don't lock it ever. So,
We can close the park relative to maintenance right after.
sure,
Labor
I mean, a
Day.
lot of times whenever we pull the end of it is usually when we pull the dock, because there's still fishermen and stuff that use it regardless. So once we pull the dock, that's usually the end of that, you know, because the beach might be closed, doesn't necessarily mean the whole facility is closed.
Right.
Agreed. We don't put barriers up. So.
So,
Steve's theory was close it when the state parks are closed. Which is in October.
which is probably about when we pull that thing, where we've had whatchamacallit pull it. We usually pull, I don't know, when have we usually pulled the swimming buoys?
After Labor Day.
Yeah, but usually the dock stays longer.
The other thing is, you have to get the barrels away from those, right there, right, and put them in the back. Somebody's gonna dump trash or whatever.
So move them further into the beach area so they're not convenient to people driving through. That's a possible solution.
Mhm.
All you gotta do is look at some of that trash too, you can see envelopes with addresses on them. That's probably too much. work.
I mean, this is an issue.
It is.
The other option here I could say is, you know, have we talked to one of the porta potty guys at all about paying them for cleaning?
We have to.
Well, I think
We
Superior
had 'em
Service
clean
cleans them
'em.
once a week, do they not? And Bob cleans them between their cleaning.
Okay.
Dale.
That's my, excuse me, Dale.
I mean, maybe, is it something we could talk to him about bumping up, or, you know, I mean, they have better facilities on that truck. He's got water, he's got, you know, whatever he uses to clean the porta potties, he's got the same, you know, I mean, he basically, you know, he can spray stuff down with those, you know, so he's better equipped. You know, I mean, our truck out there, we don't have a water tank to pump them, you know? So take the fire truck over there once a week and just really give it a blasting.
Fearful that it
Well,
would come down if we did that. We could contact Superior Service and see if we can't double the maintenance on their part.
I'm just brainstorming right now, you know, so we don't have to do that. I mean, I can see that if we close it. I can see some people getting mad and maybe damaging things because we do that. I feel
Seems like they're doing it.
They're
anyway.
damaging stuff anyway.
The light
but-
got shot again. We had the electric fix it, now the light's out again.
Yep. we
Maybe
keep
a
paying.
power outage.
Oh,
Dale updated, I'm sorry, there was a power outage at the pavilion or whatever, so he's thinking that maybe the storm. that
oh,
went
then it
through-
had to do with that.
Okay.
Had to do with
Oh.
the storm.
Someone did
There
shoot
was
the
one
light
time
out
that the light
before.
was the victim of the shot.
Yeah.
apparently.
You know, I don't, personally, I don't blame the guy at all for not wanting to clean it.
I wouldn't.
I don't blame him
I
at all.
just, you know what, if people want to be disgusting,
And I know
then
it's part of his job, but during this COVID thing, that's.
that's
let's
excessive.
contact Superior Service and see what it would cost for an additional day a week for another month.
'Cause it's
That'll get us through.
I'm just starting it there, you know.
But I think it makes a lot of sense.
They come once a week right
I
now.
think they're coming once a week to clean it, and then he cleans it between their cleanings.
Okay.
And if we have them twice a week, then he can cut his in half and check it.
Just throwing that out there. See if
Let's
we
take a
can
look at
help
the
it out
cost
here a
and
little
see what
bit.
we can do.
I'm afraid if we take the trash cans out, that people are just gonna start throwing stuff away.
Yeah.
I
They do
really am.
anyway.
Yeah, so that'll be worse.
But I do understand his frustration with it.
It is frustrating. I understand.
Happens in Tamarack, too, I'm sure.
And the other option is to do what Bob said, but I don't, nobody, I mean, you can't even, you know, I mean, digging through garbage right now is not exactly a healthy thing either, so.
No.
And then we keep talking about maybe putting some cameras up out there. You know, maybe we need to really, really get serious about it, because that facility is never going away.
No.
You know, and I don't really plan on shutting it down, so.
I'll talk to Dale about all the options and we'll look to see what we can afford between. now and the end of
Obviously,
the-
having water over there is, not having water over there is an issue.
So do we have a Superior toilet there also besides the other?
Well, we have a porta potty down in Cameron,
Right,
but this is our outhouse setup
okay.
at Sandy Bottom.
But Superior.
And
still
we
cleans it.
And Superior Service cleans it once a week.
I think we
My
moved the
understanding.
porta potty
No, I
a
don't,
year or two ago.
We had those
We
those
pay
old-
them something. We pay them $125. I just paid them
Yeah.
for something at Sandy Bottom
That's for the cleaning.
for
That's
the cleaning.
I think that's the monthly bill for
Okay.
cleaning.
but I mean, if we take, you know, we're taking hours away from Dale then and putting it, something that probably cost us more anyways, but, and get a better quality cleaning probably,
I'm
because he's
sure
got,
Dale won't mind that cleaning.
No, I don't think he'd mind giving up a day
Right.
or two of cleaning the
Right.
toilets and trying to maintain that.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll follow up on that.
Mhm.
Good idea. Thank you for,
And I think that you're right about the cameras and stuff. I mean, I think we need to look at a more long-term solution for Sandy Bottom. because
Mhm.
it's
we
not-
talk about
they
it, but
are
then we just
people.
drop it. Every time we have an issue, it comes back up. I mean, it's getting to the point where I just don't see how we can completely ignore it, you know, I mean,
I mean, it's gotten out of control with the
there's
garbage.
a lot of
and the
people that use that.
Yeah.
There's
There
a
are
lot
a
of
lot.
people
And a few people are gonna ruin it.
ruin
you
it
know,
for
so,
everybody.
Same with the ice rink, we
Yep.
got a problem
We
there
gotta
too,
come up
so.
with some kind of,
We
like, what we should use this winter to build some kind of a plan or something.
Well, I mean, it sounds like we need the same thing at the ice rink,
Yeah.
so, I mean, we gotta come up with some kind of a situation here to deal with
Mhm.
our recreational facilities to protect them a little bit, you know, we don't have a police officer that can go, you know, unless we wanna start paying the sheriff to go there once a week, once a night or something like that, or, you know, or something like that. I don't know, I mean,
well, we have, and there's a couple of requests in the packet for later on in the agenda that I'll dovetail in here just to point them out, coming from the school relative to putting a porta potty at the ball field. At their expense, of course, but.
Yeah.
That's, the expectations and use of our facilities now being asked for a little more frequently than at the beginning of the summer with the COVID-19 stuff.
Sure.
But we are addressing some serious issues here relative to cleanliness, et cetera. And I think the budget, I don't have it in front of me relative to the issue, but we could probably afford twice weekly cleaning from Superior Service between now and the end of the season at Labor Day for the toilet at least.
Mhm.
And Bob is going through there pretty much on a daily basis, checking cans and whatever.
Dale.
Steve,
Yeah.
I keep saying Bob, I apologize, Dale. Dale's not here and I don't see him, so. For the record, it's Dale, not Bob. My
But I-
fault. Dale is checking out.
I still think we need to start looking at you know, I mean, that Sandy Bottom line, that's gone now, you know, that's an issue. It's an issue.
Yeah.
Can be fixed.
Nothing's free, but I mean, it's an issue, you know, I mean, and
All
we
you
gotta,
gotta do is get somebody diving around with a dresser, 1.25 inch.
yeah.
Well, then we may have a solution for next year, is to get the water line fixed, that will help.
Uh-huh.
And we talk with Dale about what else needs to be done out there. We revisit our recreational plan.
Yeah.
And look throughout here, okay. Moving on?
Moving on.
Yep. Sorry.
No, we're fine, we have plenty of time. First responders report is in your packet. Tamarack City Fire Department report is in your packet. Tamarack City Utility Board is in your packet, and we did talk earlier about the issues that came up there. Torch Lake Sewage Authority is in your packet, or handout. And I have a number of updates, but I will try to do this in 5 minutes or less. For the supervisor's report, there was a board of review meeting on the 23rd of July. Are there questions before I begin?
I'm just gonna tell him that I need to not forget about the paving work, and I see the SEMA thing here on the golf course road, and I just had a question about that.
Okay, the bids that came in from the road commission?
No, the stuff that's already been, the work that's already been done.
Oh, okay.
So I just had a question. You probably know what it is, so.
That's supposed to pay by FEMA.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask about that. So I just don't let me forget that where we're
okay.
gonna talk about that.
Sure.
You know.
Again, there was a board of review meeting on the 23rd of July. Meeting had, I believe, a dozen petitions, all of which were addressed by the board. Minutes have already been submitted to the equalization department. Meeting and discussion about the next meeting date lasted less than an hour. We have had some movement on the blight issue relative to the property on the corner of 6th and M26 in Tamarack City. There was a hearing on the 7th of August. The party in question did not appear. My understanding is based on a conversation, so this is oral rather than written. I've not received a report yet from our attorneys in Marquette. Should be coming shortly, but I understand that the party in question was held in contempt, that there is a bench warrant that I believe has been issued. There will be a period of time given for cleanup post implementation of the conditions of the bench warrant. If the party does not clean the property as expected, the township may go in and ultimately clean it at our choice at their cost. That's my understanding. And that ultimately, if things aren't recouped, we could look at options relative to liens against the house or something to that effect. I'm going from memory from the conversation. I'm expecting documentation from our attorneys.
Scary part about that is actual amount to clean that up is probably not worth the piece of property that it's on. So that's the scary part. So if they just decide to walk away and they lose it, we get stuck with something. It's a worrisome situation, I guess. I'll just leave it like that.
Ultimately, we're going to have to make some decisions.
I mean, a house like that, demo is 20 grand, you know, I'd say minimum. So, I don't think that piece of parcel of property will ever be worth the amount. So you can put it on a tax, but you'll never get it back if we end up paying for it ourselves.
Training for the fire department?
Yeah. Okay.
It's really close to other houses.
Oh. Well, that's no good.
Anyways,
Anyway,
I'm just bringing it up that I hope something can be done, but I'm not sure what. This is a liability that maybe the township may have to accept, but with our potentially reduced revenue that we're talking about, I'm not sure that we can go out on this limb right now. You know, so I don't know where this is going to go. I'm just bringing up some. I feel there's some red flags here from what I'm listening to. So.
there are, and we've had a few internal discussions here in the office about the resources we've already committed to this versus the potential for recouping resources, and it goes to the heart of what you're raising. It costs us more to address it than we really are in a position to invest in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for the written report.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
I'm willing to support this, and it is a bad piece of property over there that needs to be fixed. I don't know if this is we're getting into territories where I think you're starting to talk about serious money now, you know, so.
Mark, is there anything from the health department as far as inside the house goes?
Not that I have obtained or asked for recently, but it is something that I could certainly pursue. I'll talk further with you about that, Bob, because you have more firsthand information than I do. I have been exploring and inspecting the premises and the exterior, not the interior. It is improved, but part of that is the result of the work on Sixth Street, in my opinion. But it is better than it was, but it's far from what needs to be. We had a site visit that was scheduled by one of our insurance representatives that would talk about our plans and potential liabilities here for the township, for the water system, and for the fire departments. This is a biannual or annual event, but they've gone through some staff. There's a new person there by the name of, I believe it's Lisa Burton, but she called just prior to a meeting that was scheduled for last week and postponed everything because of COVID-19 restrictions. No new date selected. We do have a questionnaire we'll try to fill out for her over the next few weeks, and we'll see when she's coming up, but it won't be in the immediate future. There's in your packet, Road Commission offered a follow-up on some of the other road requests. They are rather pricey for the Oneiko Road and for Millionaire Street up in the 4th precinct. Oneiko Road is in the 1st precinct, but I still have to talk with Mr. Sema about the least expensive of options. He provided me with the first two, which are fairly expensive, but he did identify a possible option, which I believe we might want to consider if it is, as I understand it, and that would be simply kind of a cleaning or leveling of what's already there and then putting a very thin blacktop coat over it. It only lasts for a few years, but it would dramatically improve the roads. That is not in the offer you have in front of you. Those are quite substantial.
Did you go up there with him?
Yes.
Okay. Because I mean, that pavement to me isn't, I think an overcoat would be fine in that section.
I'm still trying to determine after the fact where Franklin's Township begins and ends on Oneiko Road, because the maps have been of some help, but he's talking about 1,000 feet of that being in Franklin Township. So I'm thinking, wait a second, if that's the first 1,000 feet in from US 41, which I believe it is, that's where most of the really rugged road is.
It is.
So again,
I mean, we did a bunch of work up there, didn't we, already once? I mean, we paved a bunch of Oneiko already one time.
Years ago.
yeah, not in the immediate past.
Not the immediate past, I haven't done anything.
This
in
is up
10
by the
years?
old Paradise Bar. This is,
Within 10 years?
Not that section, I don't think.
there's a small
I'm not
section.
talking about the right section where the old Paradise Bar, but as I thought there was a section down part of that.
There's a little piece down by Pitt Road that has been resurfaced in the not too distant past.
Yeah.
But we're talking about between Pitt Road
Maybe I'm thinking of
and
something
US
else.
41. It's up over that little rise and then it levels off going to the highway. But if the first 1,000 feet are in Franklin Township, it would be their issue. And I've not been able to talk with John in the last several days about the least expensive of offers. So we'll revisit this. There's still some time.
I'd like to talk to him because
Yeah.
from what I remember, they own more than 1,000.
Well, that's what he's telling me.
They
So-
own to the top of that hill.
Well, I've gone through some of the maps. I can't
Right.
find it on the map. So I'm sort of, might I suggest
No, I know.
that we revisit it?
We have to
This
look at
month.
definite where it is.
I've been catching him on the fly.
I
He's
have a
been all
map
over
that,
it.
of the township that might be, we can, should be able to kind of look on the tax map too, a little bit to get a rough
I've
idea.
gone through the drawers there trying to find a map.
I'll be talking about the one that we, can you
Okay,
see that map?
I'll take a peek.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it.
I almost stopped him when he was heading into your place of employment.
He was there. He
Yeah.
was right
Well,
there.
Hi, how are you? He's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
in. I got so.
Yeah,
But I'll follow up.
okay.
The first of our ordinances have been posted on the website. That took place a little later than anticipated, actually today, but it's there along with the protocols for responding. given what went out about posting this, and I believe our newsletter, I've actually had 2 or 3 calls in the last week about ordinances, other than the blight ordinance, dealing with burning, etc. So people are alert to it, they're calling in, and what I have received, though the sample size is extremely small, about 3 or 4 people, they think posting the ordinances and seeking township-wide input is a really good idea. So hopefully there will be responses from a broad section of the community to how to improve the ordinances, make them more enforceable from their perspectives, etc. So it's there now and on the website, thanks to everyone in the office, Christina and Krista and Tracy in particular. Sandy Bottoms, the Julios has installed new line, and the buoys have been out now for several days, a few weeks. It took about just under 400 feet of line off a 500-foot roll. It was ordered for us 24 cents a foot, I believe. I think the total cost of the entire spool was a little over $125. I'm trying to recall the invoice, but I suggested to Mr. Ebert when he came in and said the work was done, do you think there's a need for the, and he said, wouldn't hurt to keep it just in case. So I will suggest that we simply pay for the entire roll, keep the balance where we store the buoys and the line fall, winter, and early spring. And if we need to splice some or make improvements, we've got line to do it. We don't have to go out and reorder. But they're out, looks good. I've been by it a number of times to check it out. So the buoys are in place and will come up after Labor Day. The newsletter was corrected, and the few people that commented on the correction, for the most part, was favorable. More out of curiosity, I got not again a huge sample size, maybe a half a dozen to 10, but I would explain where the unintended inadvertent error was, and they say, "Oh, didn't see that." In many instances, but they were delighted that we went through the effort to correct it. So that's been done. Lastly, I did with handouts, there are 2 requests that I'd like to just have us address your business, if you don't mind, by adding them late. One is from Sarah Moylan and at the school with 3 ideas that she has. And the second one from Mark Davis relative to banners recognizing veterans. So we could address that under new business. My apologies for not doing that at the time of the agenda. So that's what I have for a supervisor's report. Or is there any questions?
Yeah, my one question is where are we at right now with the like I was looking at the golf course road and I can see that they've paved and they've moved on. But they didn't really, looks like they ground it down and it looks like it's missing a layer. And I'm wondering, are they not done yet? Is that all? Or is there something I'm not aware of here?
We talking about golf course road off of 6th heading up the hill?
Yeah, it looks like it's, yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing, I mean, I can see, you know, the manholes are sticking up and there's still a ridge at the highway and it looks like it's missing a layer. And I just wanted to question to make sure that they're not done yet. That's the one thing I wanted to make sure. That's, I mean, I look at the park going up the hill and they've got the gut, you know, they've already put bit curbing on there and everything going down the hill. It looks done going down the hill. So I'm wondering if they're just going to do the bottom parts. I'm just wondering what's going on here.
From what I understand, and you can correct me, is they will be back down toward Osprey, is an extension of 6th Street.
Yeah.
That's the same condition.
Yeah.
So they're coming back.
Because every time I use it, I'm like, what are these?
And there's some streets that are redone in Tamarack itself that have the second layer coming in. But from what I
That's
heard,
my understanding as well.
Okay, I'm just checking to make sure because it seems like it's
when the
weird
upper
that.
highways start happening, they were all pulled out.
Okay, that's what happened because it's really weird for them to demobilize when they're not.
Yeah,
That's a strange deal.
Your point is well made and taken. The contract completion date is the 28th of September.
Okay.
So my understanding based on that, but I will follow up with John Sema at the Road Commission to ensure that our.
I mean, when we get rains like we had, you know, stuff washes down that pavement and stuff and ends up down at the bottom. I mean, they're going to have cleanup to do.
Yeah.
It's weird that they pulled out and without a finished job. You know what I mean?
I know they've come back into Hubble And they finished
back
up
there a little
7th and
bit.
8th, which was the FEMA work, as far as I can tell. I drive the roads about every 3rd day just to see where they're at.
Okay.
But it's my understanding they're coming back. So I would hope by the end of this month.
Obviously, I don't drive around Timac as much as you guys do.
No,
so don't
I know
but
that.
but I know I take that golf course almost every day because I'm trying to avoid that when I'm going to the golf
Mike
course. 'Cause I'm trying to
Schmidt's
avoid the upper highway.
Mike Schmidt's house is the same way. That road's not done, and I hear about that every day.
Okay.
So that's why I started snooping around.
I got called.
Yeah.
I think got put on hold up here.
So that's what I heard too. The upper highway took everybody away.
Remind me to follow up, would you?
That was my question that I
Yeah,
wanted to
no, I
ask.
think it's absolutely appropriate because we've been checking it periodically and it is incomplete. There's probably what, 3 places that have to be done. If I
Yeah,
recall.
it's not a huge job left. Probably a one-day thing.
Yeah, it
Finish
is. But I saw them there down on Osprey with the equipment last week and I thought they were doing it, but they just finished up something down there and then moved on. So I'm going, whoa, what's going on here? They didn't finish 6th Street. And that's all. Your point's well made.
If you ever get a chance to, when you're talking to SEMA, you'd ask them to throw a grader on that gravel road there too.
Golf course?
Yeah.
They graded it 2 days ago.
Did they?
Yeah, but coming up in March.
Oh,
The grader I know was working because I went up for coffee and I had to go way over to the right. 'cause
I mean, you would be surprised how many people are parked down there every time I go up there.
Right,
There's
everyone-
people everywhere up there. I
Constant.
mean, it is packed going up there.
Yeah.
Almost need
Problem-
to talk to that guy to make him, so almost have him put some kind of parking space up there. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is
The
here. But
problem
there,
with that road is every time it rains, you get the washboard effect.
oh, is it bad?
Every time it rains, yeah. Yeah, you never, unless you pave that.
And then
you
you're
never stop
forced
it.
because you're squeezed when you're going up there.
Right.
And then people come around that corner and you're squeezed between cars and
It's
Going
like-
up is worse than coming down.
yeah.
We'll follow up.
I know it's a seasonal road, but it's getting a lot of use right now.
It is.
More than I think that with the private guy owning that thing, I feel like more people are going there now than ever. I don't know if it's because people are just trying to find a place to go to get out of the house right now or what.
Pretty much, I think.
Also avoid US 41, which can hold you up forever.
I know I am using it to get it past them. I don't typically take that route, but
Thank you. Moving on, unfinished business. Office Planning Group contract for the copier. Do we have any update on that?
Yep. So I got if you guys remember, we had talked about, an annual allowance of 18,000 pages with a base charge of $299.15. So I asked them if we bumped it to 20,000, so that'd be 20,000 copies, and the base charge on that would be $332.39. So
Do you have a recommendation?
what was the
What
original
was the
one?
original one?
the original was, for 17,000, it was $299.15.
So it's
So it's like
$30,
$33 more.
$33.
Yeah.
For 2,000.
About the cost of, well, for little, one toner costs 86. And as I stated at the last meeting, we generally go through at least 3.
And that would cover the cost of the toners in the
It would
agreement.
cover the cost of the toners, parts, labor, drums, and toner. And I would say at least once a year, we call them to come in here to work on the copy machine.
Did you have a ton of copying with this election?
Yeah.
And our average is normally, what did you say?
This is
They
a,
said it was probably closer to the 80,000, which is why they quoted us that originally.
this is a year, so $30 more for the year.
Correct.
That's a no-brainer.
I don't think I can-
I mean, I print all my tax bills on that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, all our duplexing has to be done on that.
I just got done saying at the beginning, you gotta watch.
You need a motion?
Right.
We do.
No.
Do I have a motion then to approve the agreement at 20,000 copies?
I'll make that motion.
Mr.
Second.
Wareham, is there support? Mr. Janke, further discussion on the motion? to
Wait.
approve-
Sorry,
Sorry,
food motion,
Mr.
Morning.
Wareham,
thank you.
supported by Mr. Janke. I'll slow down.
Okay.
This is the Office Planning Group agreement for 20,000 copies. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Ms. Gardner. Mr. Hopla.
Yes.
Myself, yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next item, Fulton County Recreational Authority. We tabled this last month to give everybody a chance to take a look at the paperwork about becoming a member of the Recreational Authority. There
From
are,
what I can see, it just like, our responsibility would be that we have to, somebody has to go to the meetings. But in my opinion, overall, I think it would be a positive because, you know, we would be a part of the greater trail network and promoting the usage of that. And I think it would benefit us, you know, as being a part of that, so. I don't see any downside. I didn't find it.
an additional thought was to attend a meeting and see what it's all about and its benefit for us, and then bring back a recommendation after attending a meeting.
So they want, I'm assuming they want a fee here though, correct? Or
Not that I could see, but that, I mean, I didn't read it super carefully. That's what I was looking for.
As of this
I mean, I
moment,
don't
I'm saying it's a
understand.
time commitment.
just a time commitment, that's it. Okay.
It's your pleasure. The motion to take it off the table and then discuss it and vote on it, or to leave it on the table and explore by attending a meeting and asking some questions.
Mark, just real quick, Franklin Township did opt into that.
Okay.
Just so, I don't know if they'll check it off.
Thanks, Jim. We're sort of discussing it generally, but as of this moment, the issue is still on the table.
Off it? Yeah, it's on. No, it's table.
The
Yeah,
options
pull it
are
off the table.
pull it off the table, discuss it, and then
Or put it on the
Concede.
table or whatever.
it's already on the table. So we would have to remove it, discuss it, and vote on it if we choose to, or an option would be to attend a meeting, see what our role would be, come back with a recommendation, take it off the table, make the recommendation. And vote.
Do we have someone that would go to the meeting?
You just volunteered.
The next
did.
one.
I moved that we opt in. Based on Mark's volunteering.
Must be.
So in essence, what we do is I would attend a meeting, see what it's like, come back, take it off the
Sounds
table,
good.
vote to participate.
Let's do that.
Okay,
I don't see any reason why not to do that.
we'll find out when the next meeting is.
Look at it.
Next item, Travis Engineering Report. In your packet are invoices for action this evening. Sixth Street project, with the exception of the paving, is all but done. And there's a couple of things that you need to note relative to the invoices. First of all, you have Thursday, July 23rd email that shows the first breakout, first invoice. And the methodology of payment to adjust expenses, I would call your attention to the Osceola Township payment, $31,447. Recollection is that we approved for this project up to $25,000 out of road fund revenue. Second invoice behind that is the cost that would be for services rendered by Travis Engineering as part of the overall cost of the project. We should have an additional document.
That's all I got.
Two?
There's something somewhere else that I missed.
No, there should have been a third one.
Is there something separate?
There should have been a letter dated the 31st of July in your packet. These copies we put in there. Probably 31st of July, which is the,
That's what I'm looking at here though, but this is it's got the cost breakdown and then it's got it's got this, but if there's another sheet, I'm not
there's
seeing.
another sheet that you should have in your packet that's dated the 31st of July.
I just got the letter
Like
like
this.
we got
It's a
that.
letter. It's
Yeah,
right
yeah,
on
the
that's
front.
that's
right on
what I-
top. Okay.
Yep.
That's the most recent one.
Yeah.
And that is a request specifically for the additional $62.73, in essence, necessary to pay all the costs associated with the project. And in breaking out the revenues, this is working off our June 15th, 2020 Precinct 1, District 1 profit and loss sheet relative to the road funds. At that time, we had $149,315.37 in our Tamarack City Precinct Road Fund. We have a commitment to the Road Commission for the work over and above what FEMA is paying for in Tamarack City of $115,100. And to honor this request in its totality from Travis Engineering would leave us, it's about $31,273.60. We would be left with $2,941.77 in the road fund for Precinct 1, paying for all of the work on 6th Street and all of the road work done by the Road Commission under that contract, assuming that the cost that is charged us by the Road Commission does not exceed the bid. It has the potential, because of the manhole covers, to come in slightly below that, but it was the best estimate. So in doing a quick review of the math, we can honor all the requests for revenue that we've made and still have just under $3,000 in
The
the road.
$13,001 one is, I just found out.
Yeah, that's on the,
It's
it's
in
on
the
the
31.
It's in the 31, it's part of the larger breakup. And then by executing these, it's my understanding that we're gonna be able to pay the bills, get the canceled checks to Travis Engineering if we do approve all of this. And then they will seek the balance of the FEMA money as part of the reimbursement for all of the projects they're doing. Once the bills for the FEMA work have been taken care of relative to the 6th Street project. Does that make sense? Because that's a conversation I had briefly with John Paul Fiedler this morning. So
So the check for this payment or?
all of the payments, out of the FEMA money and out of the road money from the Tamarack Fund to pay the total bills that are identified there.
Okay.
We have FEMA money in hand, and we have our road money in hand.
Right.
We would pay all of the bills that they are billing us for to the amounts identified out of FEMA and or road fund money. Once that's taken care of, then they will have canceled checks that we've used some of the FEMA money and apparently then would pursue. It is still available to us. I think he used the figure 25% of availability of funds still available, but I don't recall how much was originally committed by FEMA, 125 or something. But he, upon action tonight to approve all of this and move the payment schedule forward, then he will be communicating with Krista about what's still in the pipeline for us. And we would put the payments out probably as early as next week. But these do require board action. And as Aaron indicated, in this document right here, the 13,000 and change identified on their separate invoice to show their costs are covered in the overall cost of 131,810. But clarification is we are not, my understanding of it, we are not paying for the administrative costs for management of the fund out of our money. Our money is covering the road costs on 6th Street, the 31,000 and change, the 32,000 and change. We've already approved 25.
I'm just looking at that copy that you have right there,
Which one do you want to see?
the top one.
You should have that in your packet.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
You don't have that?
No.
That's the 131. That's what I was telling you. I don't know that number.
This is the May 13th one?
No, that's 31. You pay 131.
131 is the total estimate there on the bottom. What is your total figure on that?
31.
Oh, no, we don't have that.
Well, let me get that for
We
you.
have a different cover like we do.
Yeah. Excuse me, my apologies.
There's a 13,642 is in here.
Yeah, and this is the 31, and then he said 131, and that's why I said what?
Oh, I just thought you said 31. Okay, I'll give it.
Which is the other number.
Oh, I thought you said 31. I got it.
But the 131 is something different, I think, right? we're not paying all of that one, right?
6. What?
Because if you start adding these numbers, the 131 plus that, something's not adding to this.
It's the new numbers you come up with. There's a FEMA, part of the FEMA money.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Okay.
FEMA, I'm pretty sure is 120.
What I see this breakdown on that, maybe a little bit.
This is the May 13th letter. It may be in a previous packet.
Probably is. So that, we can just, I can just add this to this. He's got the 9.
Oh, the pressure line? Yeah.
The 997.
What you're looking at for May 13th, I'm sorry, is the bids.
Yes.
These were the bid offers, so the only one that's relevant is the Siler one on the top. That was just in mind for an informational.
Oh,
Yeah, this is.
But you said something about 131 just now, and I
Well-
was like, I don't have that.
So
I don't have that number somewhere.
we have to pay, it says our portion of payment is 31,447.52, but we already paid up, approved up to
We approved up to 25,000.
25,000, so we
So
have
we
to
have to
approve
approve the 60.
6,447.52.
He's asking for 6273.60.
But that
July
doesn't
31st.
equal 31,447.52.
Agreed, he amended this. This is an amended offer dated the 31st. This is what he sent to us. You have, that's the dated, remember, that's dated the 23rd.
July 23rd.
23rd. This is dated July 31st, where he's asking for an additional 6273.60, which is less than.
Less than this
less than-
amount.
Right, by a couple $100.
All right, so this is,
And this one reflects $97,000 in total project costs, including their admin.
25,000.
What you, my apologies on that, what you.
So my emotion here is just to pay the 6273.60.
Well, and the 25,
Well,
No, we already did.
we've already approved the 25.
we already
Yeah,
approved it,
so
but we didn't pay
We
it.
haven't paid it yet.
Yeah, so we approved it, right?
We're paying the previous amount approved, we're paying the 6273.60, and we're paying the FEMA money up to the amount identified that would come out of our account in the correspondence that has the breakdown on it. That's the July 23rd. That's my understanding.
So we're doing something other than the 6273.60 right now?
Well, do we have to approve the distribution of the FEMA money that we have for the project?
I think he's gonna go get that separately, isn't he?
I thought it was in our accounts.
Is it in our account?
We have FEMA money.
Yeah, that
So he
was.
gotta get it too. So Osceola Township payment for 31,447, is that what we're at?
No,
No.
because he changed it now.
Well, he's
So-
asking for a different amount.
The
than
cover letter is asking only for the 6273.60.
Which is Siler contracting pay estimate number 2.
That's the only thing I see on the cover letter. Is there something I'm missing?
Well, we've already approved 25,000 because the total cost is 25,000 plus the six.
So the 60, I mean, that's gonna make it 31,273.60.
Which is slightly less than what you see on the paperwork for the 23rd of July.
73.60. This is what we need to pay.
But that's not FEMA money. There's no, I don't know what
This
FEMA
is-
money we're talking about.
This, I
The
think,
FEMA grant award, the minus is the
So
65,000.
we gotta approve that too?
Well, that I think is money that we have from FEMA in our accounts to pay for the FEMA work relative to the Father's Day flood.
and
It's
we don't
part
Why
of
have,
this
did he
override.
ask for that though?
we don't have to do that because we already have the money.
That's all the,
But have we, is that money that we release on presentation of an invoice and we don't have to approve its release at a
Right.
board meeting? That's the question I'm answering.
That's the question I'm
I don't know, I
asking.
don't see that happening with like the Mason sewer project. You know, we got grants
Right.
there. They're releasing that money as we. Don't we have that money in our accounts too?
Or we will,
we
Yeah.
do.
so why don't we vote to release the 6273.60 that he's requesting on July 31st? And get, if we do not require additional approval relative to the FEMA money, we've honored his request because we've already approved the previous 25,000. We just have to go back and find the date when we did that.
But we're not gonna do the 65,680,698 right now.
That's what yeah.
That's the
FEMA.
$64 question. Do we need to approve release of the FEMA funds?
I would say.
Let's
It's
just
sitting in
do
our
it.
account right now, I would guess.
Anytime we're writing a
We have
check,
to release it.
Okay, then
regardless of how we got.
I
the
would
money.
say that I'm gonna make a motion for the first initial 6273.60 first. then we'll make a separate motion, I think, for the FEMA one.
Makes
That's
perfect
okay.
sense.
That's okay.
And do I have a motion to honor the request of July 31st, 2020 for the amount of $6,273.60, money coming from the Osceola Township Road Fund for Precinct 1?
Move.
Moved by Mr. Jenke,
Second.
supported by Mr. Warren. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please, on the motion.
Hold on, I gotta get this written down. Mr.
Like you
Jenke,
to-
I
Yes.
just gotta get this right.
Moved by Mr.
Mr. Warren,
Yes.
Ms. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Hopla,
Yes.
myself, yes.
We've now approved the request for release of an additional $62,7360 out of the Precinct 1 Road Fund.
So my next one will be upon request of the 65,686.98. Now, this work, this is all completed work, right? This isn't a part of some of the stuff that's already, that's still sitting there. This is just a completed storm sewer replacement work, right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
make the motion specific to that.
Yeah, so for the 6th Street storm sewer replacement, only, upon request, I'm moving that we pay that request for the 65,686.98.
We have a motion to release the FEMA money.
We paid for the sewer. FEMA did not. That's the 6,000 extra we just approved is for the storm sewer.
So what FEMA money do we have, are we sitting on?
We're now approving the FEMA money to pay for the rest.
We're talking about the FEMA project on 6th Street.
Right.
But this says
Over-
that
that
this
includes
is
the
strictly
sewer
storm
project.
sewer.
Sewer project was covered for part of it.
We
and
have
the
like.
balance was for the roadway.
$97,000.
This is the Travis Engineering managed FEMA money, and there's roughly $125,000 available. We have about 91,000. This is for the FEMA share of the work on 6th Street,
I understand that.
okay?
This, it looks like this is just a breakdown for 6th Street. Am I incorrect in saying that or no?
This is.
This is just 6th Street.
Here is a cost breakdown for 6th Street storm sewer
Sewer
replacement. That's what I'm getting out of this. Total cost looks like it was 83,672. Right?
Yes, but that wasn't just the storm sewer. Isn't that all the work on 6th Street, including the paving and the flood repair?
Is 6th Street done?
All except that little piece at the beginning of it.
Piece of stars needs a second piece of pavement on it.
Right, this is what I'm asking. So
So 6th Street completely done, no.
I'm not sure I'm ready to release all the money if it's not done.
Then
I think I'm gonna,
Amend your-
I'm gonna withdraw my motion then, because until somebody officially asks for it in a letter, I guess I'm gonna just leave it be then. Is that fair?
Which makes sense. The second one? Or the
So
first one?
there wasn't
They're
a
actually
support,
asking for this.
there wasn't a second for the motion anyway, was there?
So just let her die.
So the motion dies for lack of a second.
For the
We need-
65,000.
Because
We need
Yes.
clarification.
I need to know more, I think,
Yes.
because it's not, this is exactly what I was asking, what's not done and what's done out there, and I'm trying to, if it was just for the storm sewer itself, then I would say, we're ready to pay that, but
That's the part we ended up paying. To go underneath the road, that's a little extra we had to pay.
but we are holding FEMA funds.
But
But
the FEMA funds for the rest of it.
I guess when John Paul PLF, he says we need to release those FEMA funds, we'll make that, I'll come back and make that.
Okay.
All right.
So we're just doing the one motion for the
Sounds like it.
6,000.
I was trying to be proactive here and get that out of the way, but we're not gonna do that.
Okay. Good.
Well, hang on a second. We authorized all the work here. Here's the notice on the bid document. Notice of award to Siler with a service description of 6th Street storm, 6th Storm Street storm sewer. So I think what we got is we've got FEMA money to cover the storm street damage, and the storm sewer damage is the 68, whatever. It's all part of the Siler contract for $84,000.
Right, the one that's 83,672
That's the
after
billing,
the
yep.
change order.
Yep, the bid was 84,901. So, so what we have here, I think, is both in combination, the storm damage to the street and the storm damage to the sewer. So
But he's not asking for it anywhere.
here's a
I'm
cost
not willing to
breakdown.
guess, and I'm not willing to release if it's not done.
There's
So,
attached an invoice. This is the bill. An invoice for their cost, and it's a cost breakdown for the sewer replacement. And I
it
don't
says
have-
something about some payment estimates.
And that's the payment estimate where he's asking for.
The Osceola Township payment of 31,447.52, which we've already done the
25 of that we already paid.
And
25
this is
that
what she
we've
was
already
saying,
approved.
this is what she was saying, is that if you do the math here, it doesn't come up to this 6,727.
Right.
The mark
It comes up to something else.
comes up a little bit less.
No, this is the newest.
No, the newest now is on this page.
It's a
on
little
the
bit
front.
less. It's down to 6273.60, which we just approved.
So if I was to take the
That's the
25
amount we-
minus this
See, this is
31,447.52
where we're at now.
and subtract the change order,
We did the 25, we approved the 25,000, then we have to approve this amount, what we just did, so we're at this amount and not that amount.
because the change order was 1,229. That made it less.
Made it less,
Yeah.
this.
But we need
We went from
clarification on.
84,901 to 83,672, and the change order was 1,229, and that is not the difference I'm seeing here. Correct me if I'm wrong.
We may need a meeting with Travis Engineering
Yeah.
to straighten out
I'm
what
seeing
their invoicing is on.
31,447.52, and you're giving me another number of, what was the
Well,
number you
see,
had?
this was from the
See this number?
23rd.
Give a look at this number.
Mhm.
This number doesn't match this number, but it's nowhere near the change order number. So how do we go for a couple $100? It's not even close. The adjustment number.
We may,
Right.
Something's amiss.
we may need John Paul Pedala here.
Something's not quite right. We did do the 6,273.6
Yeah.
that he
Good
asked for,
question.
but I
Yes.
guess I
And we already approved
I guess I want you to verify that that
25,000.
number is the correct number, because
Right.
the math that I'm doing here is not equaling what I'm seeing.
What are
Yes.
you not, because the original bid amount minus what the final contract price.
Which is all already in here.
1229,
This is adjusted.
right, and the 77,398.40 plus the 6,273.60 comes to the 83,672.
Mhm.
Minus the 1,229 comes to the 83,672.
Mhm.
No.
Okay, then.
77,398.4 plus 6,273.6 equals 83,672.
So what's the minus
What's
one?
the 122?
The
Nine.
1229 is the difference between the original bid and the final contract.
Oh, see, this is
Still
the
not adding
original
up, though.
bid, right
This is,
here.
that 1229 is the difference between this and this.
That was the original
I'm
bid.
thinking the
Yeah, but why do you put it
1229
in there?
is not
I don't know why
supposed to
you
be
do
included in
Something's
the
wrong there
math.
then.
Why did they do that?
I think they just put it there to
Because
color it.
if I put things in a line and then
Yes,
put a,
I
and
would
then,
assume
and then
would
you
add
put that
the
underneath there.
contract.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I just think that was,
That shouldn't have been on there.
I don't think it should have been there.
In looking at the monthly statement attached to the larger document, it looks like all of the costs, all of these costs are associated with sewer work.
Mhm.
Pass that out. This is the attachment.
Right.
Just found that at the bottom of my pile of stuff. I think what we got here is the sewer project only. And the paving, Bill Seiler didn't do the paving. The paving was done by
Bucko.
somebody else. So now what we got is, this is all sewer. And the sixth,
So why is he only asking for that one amount?
well, we've approved 25.
Last
We're
meeting.
doing, it's 80, it's
25,000.
31,000 out of our share by the recalculation, and they're looking for 68,000, almost 69,000 in FEMA money endorsed by us to pay Bill Seiler
Is that the FEMA money we're holding though?
I think that's the FEMA money we're holding because you referenced canceled checks to go after the balance of the money we're owed. Can we conditionally approve the FEMA money upon submission of clarifications of bill? Because we may be, this may all be done
I don't like
exactly
that.
as, but we don't have anybody here from Travis Engineering to answer our questions and to clarify.
Is John on there?
We had other commitments.
I pulled my motion
that's
because
okay.
I'm a little
Yeah.
concerned, so. I don't think I can do that.
We may need a special meeting then in the next
I think
week
we
to
need
clarify.
John Paul to
Yeah.
clarify this
Yeah.
before we can do
Yeah.
anything.
I will meet with Tim tomorrow morning and we'll see clarification within a week. And we may have to get back together. Fair enough? Okay. And in deference to him, it may be on me for my inability to explain it accurately, but I fully understand the questions that are being raised.
I like to think I could usually figure this out, and I'm struggling to figure this out from what I've seen, so.
Well, I got too many extra numbers.
The paving is separate and distinct. This is the sewer project.
Agreed, I mean, I see what
Yeah,
I know what the
the
full
numbers-
price of the bid was, 84,901. We're obviously only paying the 31,447.52. We need to pay the 65,686.98 is coming from FEMA. Is that the FEMA money we're holding?
Yeah.
Or is he getting that from somewhere else?
It's
We might be holding FEMA money from something else, right? Or no, are we not?
No, it's all in relation to the Father's Day flip.
Well, I know, but
Total like
this one is one
97,000.
specific contract. There's other FEMA stuff going on out there too.
Yeah, and
That's
those
not
are,
related to
yeah.
Sixth Street, that there is the other paving projects
Yep.
that is also FEMA.
Right.
but
and
they're
is
not
that-
managed, are they by Travis
I don't know, are we holding that money still? I don't know where that's, is that all Fulton County?
Part of this is up here.
It's
Part of it is at the
only
beach
FEMA money we have is in relation to the work.
From
that
Travis.
from Travis, yeah.
Okay, well, can you just, yeah, just.
We'll get clarification. If we need a special meeting, we'll hold.
Okay.
Okay, all right,
Oh, man, what's he getting out here?
thank you.
Yeah.
Getting
So-
brutal.
Oh,
Let's
let's get
see
back
what's
to
up
the
here.
agenda. Thank you. We'll see we've approved our share. We're seeking clarification on the FEMA.
Okay.
Ah. Let's see.
We did the youth meeting. We have two,
Yeah.
we have the new stuff, right? Or we got business, new business.
New business, yeah,
New business. Let me find my agenda.
whenever you're ready.
Okay. So,
That's me.
all right. New business.
August primary went off without a hitch. Thank you. Had a bunch of new workers trained in. Everything went really well. We had a couple glitches with a machine up in Calumet. County clerk went up there, fixed everything. No complications other than that. Went well. Looking forward to November.
I didn't see results on the Upper Michigan Source website.
The Holton County website, that's
Yeah,
the
that-
courthouse.
okay.
has that. Yeah.
Go to the clerk, there's a little drop down menu.
Yeah.
I'll look there.
Or I linked
Yeah.
it to our website.
Yeah, you can go on our website, it's on there. But,
Okay.
yeah, everything's on there. So,
Good, good.
good to go. That's it for me.
Item B under new business is recommendations from the Osceola Township Water Board. It is the
Well,
board's
I know one
pleasure
thing we
on-
moved over was the Tamarack utility board items that you said should be underneath the Tamarack utility board, not discuss them with all of
We'll have to do that next. Let's do the water board stuff first.
Okay, but the Osceola Township Water Board made a number of specific recommendations to the Township Board. What is the board's pleasure relative to those recommendations?
I motion we accept all those recommendations based on the minutes created for the language created in the minutes for the motions during the water board meeting.
You
I
are,
definitely flipped around on there, but I'm basically referring to the water board meeting motions and recommending that we approve all
all the recommendations.
recommendations.
So I have a motion to accept and approve all of the water board recommendations to the Township Board. Is there support for the motion?
I don't remember them all, but yes.
Mr. Wareham,
That's why I didn't name them.
is there further discussion on the motion?
There's too many.
relative to the recommendations of the Osceola Township Water Board to the Osceola Township Board. Hearing none, roll call vote, please, on the motion to accept all the recommendations.
There is some spending, so yeah,
Mr. Jenkins,
yes.
Mr. Worm,
Yes.
Ms. Gardner.
Yes.
Mr. Hopewell.
Yes.
Myself, yes.
The motion, now we have a Tamarack City Utility Board item that needs to be addressed, is there not?
No, you just.
No, we just
approved all.
covered it.
No,
No.
no, I only did our
Osceola.
board stuff. I was specific to our board,
To our board.
to the, I mean, to the, for the Dollar Bay board.
Well,
now the
we
town-
probably should have did this underneath the utility board.
Yes,
and
we
that's
should
what
have.
we're Doing it now.
Under the report, but
This is Tamarack City Utility.
it's the water board.
Yes.
And what was that one again now?
Yeah, I forgot all about it.
Yeah, I'm searching too.
Go back to your notes there.
Hmm.
What did we move from there to here? We were
Talking
approving,
about the Osprey.
No.
we were approving something for Hamrack. And
We said we were gonna do it without asking them, basically. What was it we were gonna do without asking?
Oh,
Remember?
Everybody's screwing through their notes.
And it should actually go on the utility board. then.
was it the purchase?
Community action, no,
Radios and stuff?
Nope.
radio.
Nope.
No, that came up.
Then we'll go back and look.
The 71-year-old agreement
Nope.
contract.
No.
People,
That wasn't the water one, was it, or the free water?
Yep, that's
what
it.
it was, yeah.
No, no,
I'm
not
sorry,
free water, not free water. It was
Hold on,
the, it was
the
the,
Hubble, drink, thank you,
Yes,
Jim.
the Hubble
Well,
one.
good thing you're sitting here. It is
what
the
was
recommendation
to buy the water from
Oh.
Tamarack
it?
to permit
for $10 a thousand or whatever.
yes, the offer to be included in the bid offer from Travis Engineering.
Oh, it
Thank
took
you.
all of us to
Thanks,
do that.
Jim.
Big subpoena.
Took all of us.
About midnight tonight, that would have popped back into my head. Do I have a motion? Honor the request from Travis Engineering to include the offer of available water from Tamarack City in the amount of $10 per thousand to assist with, if desired, the
Stormwater cleaning.
stormwater cleaning in Hubble.
Ooh,
Moved by Mr. Jenke. Is there support? Mr. Wareham. Further discussion on the motion to accept the purchasing of water from the Tamarack City water system, part of the bid from Travis Engineering, the storm drain cleaning in Hubble.
I know.
We're not expending money, so this does not require roll call. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same sign, motion carries, and special thanks to Mr. Clear up for refreshing everyone's memory, especially mine, on what we were dealing with. One last item before I call for public comment. Actually, two requests that came in. One from the Dollar Bay Schools Athletic Director for permission to put a porta potty at the baseball field for use of the students that are participating with cross country. They would cover the cost for the porta potty and its maintenance. The second request is that they would like to place a bat house at one of the parks in the Dollar Bay area. The suggestion is the park off of M26 in the triangle between M26 and Woodside Drive.
seems like a good place for one for now.
Yeah, they thought it might be an ideal location, so that is also the one they're seeking.
I was actually looking at that the other day and I was wondering if he was still mowing that over there, because it didn't look like it had been mowed in a while. I was just wondering.
I can check with Dale.
Got his name.
Thank you. I'm 3 out of 5 now in deference to Dale, his ears are probably ringing. Check with him about mowing, but request there, and then thirdly, they would like to, I'll expand on what's there. They wanted to kind of form an exploratory partnership to see what we could do to look for grants to enhance the basketball court in Dollar Bay.
I'd like to expand.
Please take a moment, Mr. James.
All right. Bob knows what I'm gonna say, because we were just talking about down there. I'd like to really start seeing if I can get the supervisor's help on getting serious about doing something with a cover and a grant for that ice rink, which would lead to changing out the pavement to concrete. And also I would like to put it high enough so that you could put the basketball court and a tennis court back, but you only have one tennis court and then a basketball court on the other side where you could do it under the pavilion and then change where the current court is to just parking. That's what I'd like to look for. I've been kind of hinting at it for a while and I haven't had a ton of support, but I'd like to, now that other people are starting, like school is starting to chime in on it a little bit. I mean, instead of putting concrete or trying to fix up that existing court, let's just move it over to the concrete that we'd like to place over here and not waste money in the spot. I guess, I don't know if you guys can see what I'm saying here, but two birds, one stone kind of thing here. We obviously there's expenses here and it just depends on grant, but in order to do this, we have to get more serious about looking for grants, and that's not necessarily going to be us. We need to start looking for a little help to go for this one.
You could kind of be our connection to the high school that don't look for
Well,
I'm not,
if I may interject
I
on.
mean, even you said that the Portage grant out there for the possibility, and they may have already given it out for looking for. They were looking at it wasn't for the Tory, but it was for something like the Tory setup.
Oh, yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, I'm just saying that those things are rolling by, and we're not getting in on them.
They will have them again. We talked with school personnel about pursuing one of the recreational grants that the Portage Health Foundation.
Mhm.
And a second would be going to the DEQ or EGLE or whomever.
It's
for
usually the
recreational
DNR.
grant.
It's the DNR recreational grant.
So we're going to, with the understanding the board and endorsing this idea, we're going to form an informal partnership to explore together how we can combine our resources and our talents and pursue grants to accomplish desired mutual objectives. It's a polite way of saying enhancing the ice rink, the basketball court at all, and see if we can't find grant money rather than loans to help us. We might have enough seed money between us and the school district to entice people to submit, to honor grant requests on our behalf. So yeah,
that's the hard part. Is
Yeah.
that you got to be able to back them up if you were a kid.
that's what
We've already turned ones down in the past. It's 10 years ago now, but I mean, if we're gonna go this, we got to be serious about it and not just start throwing darts and hoping we hit something.
May I ask for a motion to approve the toilet, the bat house, and forming a grant writing partnership with the school? Enter in dialogue with them to form a grant writing partnership to accomplish the desired objective.
So moved.
Is there support for the motion? Second, moved by Mr. Worm, supported by Mr. Janke. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pull same sign, motion carries. Footnote, I'll try to talk with them as early as next week and see if we can't sit down even before school begins to begin to look at who's out there with grant resources, what they would bring to the table and what we might bring to the table.
I'm not sure that there's a lot of different locations, but they might have something that I'm not aware of.
They'll have access inside the educational community. There are private foundations that will fund educational opportunities, but they won't fund units of government. But if we do it together, the school may take the lead on one, we may take the lead on another. We'll see what we can do. The other one is from Mr. Cavus, relative to honoring veterans and the desire to put banners up in Dollar Bay. Originally, the idea was to put them up Memorial Day through Veterans Day. The newest email indicates they'd like to begin as quickly as possible. In other places, they're hanging them on utility poles in communities and townships, but we don't own our utility poles.
We won't be able to do that.
Wouldn't be able to do that here, but I would certainly like to work with him to see if there's an alternative that we could do.
We actually hang our decorations on the poles.
We can go right on the pole, but obviously a banner, you'd be starting to look at adding some kind of kicker arm or something like that to hold it up, because we wrap stuff around a pole. We're just not allowed to hang anything that's going to yeah, we're not allowed to put anything in it, and at least in Dollar Bay, we're not allowed to put anything that,
So the Tamarack, we do. Our decorations are, there's 2 posts and they hung on a post, these things hang out.
Well, I'm looking at the flags that are hanging right there, and they're on the utility pole, so.
I'm just saying that.
No, so I don't know. what
We
the-
can
Depends
have-
on what kind of banner we're talking about
Yeah,
here.
but they're smaller than the flags that are up there. They're 2.5 by 3.5, as I understand it. But we can certainly call the power company. I'm on a first name basis with a lot of people. I'm not getting real far, but they know who I am when I call.
Yeah,
They've done them up at County
We
that
have
where
a
they've got,
picture,
they're like rectangle banners.
There's a service. and
See, like, you look at Lake Linden and they bought all their poles because they got it with a streetscape project.
Yeah.
So like all theirs are, they got, those are theirs now, so they can do stuff with
Same
theirs.
as City of Holton.
Yeah, so
We've done it.
if we did a streetscape project, we could probably do something like that too.
Are we in favor of it? May I ask for a motion to support the request and work with Mr. Kavis on options for the banners?
Second, sure.
The motion is from
Me.
Ms. Wool, supported by me, Mr. Jenke. Any further discussion on the motion? Approve the request from Mr. Kavis and work with him, secure locations to hang the banners? All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I think we have come to the end of our agenda.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Where you were talking about grant money for-
Yeah, I was actually gonna bring it up, but I was thinking about talking to them separately first.
Okay.
Uh,
That's fine.
So I'll bring that up probably right after the meeting. I don't think we need to. Well, maybe I can't spit it all to that.
You want to take a
Well,
moment?
you
We're
know,
gonna-
the thing is, we've been talking about this vehicle grant stuff. You
Yeah.
know, that people have been getting successful getting it, and one of them is I thought instead of buying a truck straight for one of the things that we were talking about when I was looking at his truck is, one of the ways we could look at this is, replace the water truck. And then move the water truck over to replace the
maintenance truck.
maintenance, just because the water truck, you can get another 10 years easy out of the water truck if it's over here doing much less driving around, and then we would get, how many miles is, I don't know, it's
70,000 and put about 10,000 a year.
so all I'm saying is the opportunity to take a truck and extend its life in a lesser
Right.
demanding role, and then get another truck for that role,
Right.
like a little hand-me-down system almost,
Mhm.
might be a better opportunity here.
It's suggested.
Yeah, it's a thought that crossed our radar screen.
Okay,
because it
so I'm not the
affords
only
us-
one to think
Hold
about it.
on.
I'm thinking about using the grant money for that.
Well,
Right.
it affords us access to a more predictable source of revenue right now because we're uncertain about
Right.
funding to run the township based on earlier discussion.
Right.
Plus, as we move through the budget, we're trying to make sure that we protect all the things we need to keep resources for, but we're not sure what kind of revenue we would have inside the township's general
So
fund.
I was looking at the truck, and I'm already starting to see paint peeling off the bottom of the truck and stuff like that. So, you know what happens, how long things last when that starts happening, right? Right?
Not very.
So my thought was, boy, 3-4 years down the road, this is gonna be a rusty bucket mess.
Mhm.
And we're gonna have to buy a new water vehicle anyways. Well, now I'm saying maybe there's a way we can do kind of, again, kill 2 birds with 1 stone here a little bit, and then maybe we keep that plow on that truck that's already on there and just set up another truck and then just move this one out.
That one.
Makes sense.
is
Yeah, it is.
diming us right now.
So anyways, it was a thought, and then we can get grant money to do it, and I think under the water department, we can probably, it fits under some of their things that we were talking about, especially if we're plowing and stuff with it, so I was talking about it the other day, along with the boards and some of the stuff over there, so. That's just
Great idea.
FYI, and
No,
it's
no,
something
we'll-
that we can.
We'll pick up that approach and run with it.
It's a thought.
We'll see how far I take, but it has certain advantages over trying to move out of what might be a rather depleted general fund, so.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
like it.
thank you. Before I call for a motion to adjourn, an opportunity for public comment. Anyone who has joined us via Zoom, if you would like to offer comment to the board, you will have 3 minutes. identify yourself if you'd like to, and the floor will be yours starting now.
Hello, this is Cindy Barth, and I wanted to thank Mark and Tracy and Aaron and John and Krista for making the Osceola Township board meetings available online on Zoom. Thank you.
Welcome, and thanks to UP Engineering and Annie Karen for all the help. So appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone else with a comment?
Yep, I have a comment. This is Kristen. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay. I wanted to say, just give a comment on a couple of items. One, to say, Mark, I appreciate that you're doing the comments in 2 places because it allows the public, allows me to get my thoughts together if I want to make a comment. It's very much appreciated. We just heard, Cindy and I were at another meeting the other day, and there was a complaint because they don't do this. So I appreciate that. I also wanted to say that I appreciate that you're putting the board packets online. So Krista, Tracy, whoever is doing that, that's appreciated so that we can get some of the background material beforehand. And I also appreciated that you guys sent out that correction on the millage renewal. That was a big statement. I certainly noticed and appreciated you sending that out. And I also like seeing the election webpage. That I think Tracy is under you for the clerk, but it's nice. I have posted that up into our UPR Cares Facebook page, and that was very nice to see. And the audio is much better tonight. So this is very nice to hear everyone. It would have been great to keep it on. We only had a little blip. It was muted for a few minutes during the break. And for those of us attending, we probably want to hear the little chitter chatter too during the breaks. A suggestion that I wanted to make has to do with special meetings. I had shared this, I copied Krista on it and sent it to Christina, and I'm not sure exactly who the party would be for this, but back in February, I made a request on behalf of Cindy and I that we would like to be notified of the special meetings when you guys have them. And I happened to be looking through some meeting minutes last week and noticed that there were 3 special meetings about the budget in March. And we would like to get those notices of the special meetings. That is a part of the Open Meetings Act that people can request to be notified of special meetings. And we had requested to be on that. So if there's a different person that we need to contact in order to make sure that we're notified anytime there's a special meeting, if you could let me know that, I'd appreciate it. Another question was on the blight comment. I think it's great that you're including or requesting or welcoming input on the blight. And if there's any date that you're looking for those comments back by, that would be helpful to know so that, because I'll be posting that too into our, sharing that with UPR Cares. So if there's any date that you would like those comments by, that would be great. And Mark, we may even follow up with you to have a sidebar on that because as you know, and as Aaron has shared before, the blight is kind of a really big deal. And so it's not that easy to accomplish, to make things happen quickly. So it'd be helpful to know, and I will review the comments that are on the website with the questions that are there. But if the public is making comments, we'd like to make those as useful as possible. And I think that's it. I think the one question that you might be able to clarify at the moment would be if you had any idea on the blight date.
Well, didn't you say they were gonna have it up in what, 30 days? Are we gonna post it?
You can comment on any ordinance at any time. We will probably take the blight ordinance down in about 3 to 4 weeks, but that does not end the comment period on it. It is a somewhat lengthy process to go through review, seek input, and then begin the process of determining the practicality, worth, value at all of proposed changes and amendments. So we don't want to put an end date on any of the ordinances. We'll take comments at any time, even if we are in the process of moving forward with an amendment. So we will take an ordinance down and put another one up, but it does not close the comment period on the previous ordinance or ultimately on any ordinance. It's ongoing in that regard. So
Okay, but for the initial, your kind of initial period, you said about it kind of helps to know a target date of when it's actively being looked at, especially for procrastinators, you know, like myself, I might go, oh, okay, I'll just do it right before they're looking for it. So if we even have a target date of when you're currently actively looking at it, knowing that we could give you future comments at any time, it just kind of
Sure.
gives a little window.
assume 3 to 4 weeks is the time frame we're looking at.
Okay. Okay, that's helpful. And then if someone could follow up with me and just say, hey, here's the person that's notifying of the special meetings, that would be a help to know.
Do you want me to comment on that? Do you want me to comment on that about the email list? Hey, Kristen, on the special meetings, we've been posting those on the website. We are just learning how to use, we just got recently the passwords and stuff, how to use the website that was being handled by the previous clerk's relative. So this is just is new to us. It's just being passed on to us. It's a learning curve for us. So emailing, having people on an email list is something that is, we don't know how to do it, and we don't have the manpower or the funds to kind of hire someone to train us on how to manage a website right now. So the best that we can do is put the agendas out there, put the minutes out, put the notices when our meetings are. So we're doing the best that we can with the
Sure.
resources that we have. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that the notice of a special meeting, you're like to put it on the door, that's part of, what's required. And you guys
Right.
know that. I'm sure you're already doing that.
Yep.
But when people request to be notified, especially, that is also a part of the Open Meetings Act. So if
We'll
you
look into
guys
that.
have a meeting next Thursday, then if Cindy and I have requested to be notified in particular, then you do need to send us in particular a special notice about that. And I can send the part of the Open Meetings Act because I don't think the boards always know that part of Michigan, but it is a special requirement. So in this case, you would just send an email. Cindy and I may be the only people who have requested to be on it. You would just someone in the office would send us a notice to say, hey, there's a special meeting going on next Wednesday, and then that meets that requirement. So you don't have to, revamp the website in order to meet that requirement.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. But I am hearing that little tickler on the email list, Krista, is that part that's not quite up working yet? You had thought that you might be able to notify of the blight ordinance through that little sign up that you have on the website. Is that the part that's not working yet?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Thank you for your input. Appreciate your participation. Please note that we're closing public comment at the end of the meeting. The motion to adjourn is in order. By Mr. Janke, supported by Mr. Wareham. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please indicate by saying aye. Motion carries. We stand adjourned.